Hey folks, welcome back to the Russian Cyber Games, the 2021 edition. We've just wrapped up our Group C coverage and we're going to be jumping into Group D, the final one we have in the group stage, with two more spots remaining in the top 8, two more slots that these guys can claim. Dandy, Julia, kogeT, and Gosudark. Who do we expect to make it out of here? Curiosity.
Normally I would say Dandy, kogeT, but with kogeT playing C, I'm not familiar with his level of Zerg. I know he used to be a high-level Zerg several years ago.
Yeah, again, normally I would say Dandy and kogeT, but I would agree with you in that we don't really know what his Zerg looks like on a competitive level or in a competitive setting. Gosudark, one of the underdogs here, but has a very unique style that could definitely allow him to make it out of this group no problem. Julia, the dark horse that I don't really see making it out of this group, but who knows. Nonetheless, really curious to see how kogeT will fare in this group, not just because he's a Polish player, not just because he's on Net Wars as well, but because he is playing the Zerg. And a bit surprised to learn that he is just sticking with Zerg through and through. I assumed he would be race picking, but you know, maybe he feels confident to do that. Maybe he needs, he feels the need to change pace here with Zerg, catch a break from Terran. We'll see. The first the first series is going to be Dandy versus Julia, if I'm not mistaken. With the first map being match point once again. And we've just been informed that the game has been loaded. So without further ado, let's jump into the first game of this series. Group D, Russian Cyber Games 2021.
All right, in the bottom left spawn, we have Julia, Blackman_PL.
Yes, not to be confused with the original Blackman, the 2001 or 2002 WCG second place finisher, was it? Can't remember. 2002 third place, says Zero. We're going to trust him on this one. And his opponent in the top right-hand corner as the navy blue Terran, I suppose. He is Dandy, hailing from Peru. One of the absolute best Terrans we have on the foreign scene. One of the top 3 players, I would say, of this race. Him, Terra, and kogeT.
Oh, gotta remember, kogeT no longer Terran.
Well, you know, we'll see. It might be like Flash switching to random for like one season, then saying now we gotta switch back to Terran. All right,
gas trick from here. Julia to get that extra drone, and he's scouting, checking for proxies.
Now, Julia is known for famously complaining about lag, especially in situations like this where, you know, he's playing from Poland, Dandy is obviously in Peru, so we are assuming that they played on something like TR12, maybe TR16, if, you know, they were lucky. But I think this is going to affect his playstyle. This is going to affect the strategies he goes for. I don't think he's going to go for standard muta play. He's going to try and make something happen with Hydras, maybe Lurkers, but probably not those Mutalisks that we've all learned that we've all come to love as the standard build, basically, in TVZ.
And Dandy does like to mix things up, but usually he's a 2-Rax player in this matchup. And we are seeing Julia gonna go for that 2-hatch lair build. Dandy getting that full scout and everything looking normal. Okay, that's why he had one less drone, because he's actually gonna gas steal the Terran, which I question that decision a little bit because Terran doesn't really take that gas super fast in this matchup.
Yes, again, we are working on the assumption that Dandy is the better player and he should win this game without too much trouble. So I wouldn't expect anything out of the ordinary for the Terran. As you said, he's a standard 2-Rax bio player. You know, as much as he does like to mix things up, I can't actually remember seeing him going for mech in TVZ at any point. But again, that might just be my memory having some holes in it.
Yeah, there's that second barracks. All right, so still scouting. Julia gonna make 4 lings now, and he did trade off that 1 scouting drone to slow down Dandy's gas. Looks like he's actually gonna hide 2 of the lings.
Yeah, wonder what for. Is he trying to go for some kind of bust? That is the question.
All right, Overlord sees the second barracks, and is he gonna make any more lings? Looks like just 1 chasing the SCV for now. Danny really wants to keep this alive as long as possible. Oh, drone nicely pulled to get another shot in. But no, it looks like just more drones from Julia.
Yeah, so far it is looking very standard for Julia. Like, he's setting up for some kind of a muta opening, which is actually a little bit surprising because, as I said, he doesn't like to play on lag, and it definitely affects his ability to micro mutas. But he is going to go for that Spire, so maybe after all he does feel relatively comfortable going for them, at least on this map. Well, you know, match point, not a bad map for muta play at all. You do have a few of those cliffs that you can definitely abuse as the muta player. Meanwhile, Dandy, very standard 2 rags, going for that stim, going to throw down an eBay relatively soon as well to get those turrets up in time. A few lings sneaking past the defenses in the natural.
Did a Marine die at the natural? I think Danny might have misclicked. Oh, this is actually gonna get 1 SCV, and Danny not reacting at all to the lings in the main. Maybe concerned with more lings following up. Looks like 2 SCVs actually get killed with these lings, and they're finally dealt with. No, it looks like 1 is actually still alive. It's being very annoying here.
Yeah, I mean, whatever he can find here with these lings. Any Marine, any SCV can get before those mutas pop. Now, the eBay did get delayed a little bit because, as you said, the SCV constructing it did get picked off, which means the turrets are going to be slightly late, but it shouldn't be too consequential at this point. The mutas didn't get rushed. This is in some kind of Jadong-esque 540 muta build.
All right, first bio group heading across the map.
Oh, run by.
Oh, nice run by here. These weren't 2 fire bats. There was actually 2 more Marines, which is not what you usually see. You usually see the 2 fire bats made just so they can deal with the any link counterattack. And Julia actually hanging around at the natural, a little bit of a mistake. Could have probably been on these barracks earlier, but this is already a ton of damage, and another couple Marines get popped. Another SCVs dies. Not really targeting well, because he's just hitting the barracks after hitting the command center. Not really sure why he doesn't go for the turrets or maybe some additional SCVs.
Yeah, this is a huge momentum shift anyway. Gonna get that turret in the main base. It's getting repaired, but not quite. The mutas show up in the natural. There are hardly any defenses there ready. Going for that 1 lone turret. And this is huge for Julia, taking the initiative, now focusing down the SCVs. I think he could actually jump on top of the turret, but now going to head on over to the main base. Finds a few straggling Marines there as he picks off whatever he can. Really nicely done here by Julia. But, you know, that's not the end of the world for the Terran, taking a little bit of damage at the start of the game. I think the biggest problem is that he was in the middle of the map when he was basically forced to turn around with the rest of his army, and that cost him the initiative, basically. The mutas are now still running rampant in the natural.
I feel like he can be getting more done with his Mutalists. He has 8 now, which is a very nice number. And these Marines are a little bit exposed, trying to go for that Overlord. Looks like Danny overextended there. I mean, Julia definitely has the momentum here. He just has to keep the pressure on. This is where it's a big test of his Mutalist control. How much can he actually get done with this advantage he's created?
I mean, this is getting a little problematic for the Terran because we can see that there's a hatchery being built in the top left-hand corner, which means, you know, any pressure that the Terran would want to apply should have already been applied. Now we have 2 lings in the natural, not going to quite find the damage he was looking for. The eBay getting focused down by the Mutalist. It is researching +1 attack. That is going to get denied 100%. No repair, no Marines. Oh, this is a massive find for Julia.
Yeah, I did see Julia finally made some drones. He was at 18 for a very long time, so only 12 on minerals. And mixing in drones is actually pretty important here. He wants to keep up economically. I wish he actually kept more pressure on at the natural with his Mutalisk, but getting that +1 denied and that eBay kill is actually a huge get.
Yeah, I mean, any pressure that Dandy would want to apply at this moment is going to be so much weaker than it would have been with that +1 attack. Now, Julia trying to abuse this ramp where the Marines do get stuck a little bit. The third base has been finished, has been completed in the top left-hand corner, which means Julia's eco is going to start blowing up very soon. The Marines still haven't moved across the map. And again, it all comes down to the fact that Julia gained the initiative relatively on with the Ling run by, still looking to pick off whatever Marines he can.
Doesn't really have that many mutas, and he still seems to not have the best engagements against the Marines. He is making more now, and he will have +1 soon. But if Danny just goes for that third right now, Julia's going to need very crisp Mutalisk control to deny this push from killing the base.
Ooh. Yeah, taking a little bit of unnecessary damage on those Mutalisks. He's down to just 6. One of them is bruised, down to 5, if I'm not mistaken. And the top left-hand corner is exposed. There's no defense there. We can speak of 3 drones trying to run away, but the hatchery is all but dead. What is Julia going to do? It looks like he is heading for a counter in the main base, perhaps with the Mutalisks. Good scan, but misses. What is that under the spire? The Queen's Nest. Wow, so we are heading towards a hive here already.
I don't like this at all for Julia. Losing the third is massive. Any advantage he might have had is already gone here. And it was only 6 or 7 Marines that killed his third. I feel like with better Mutalisk control, he could have defended that easily.
Yeah, I mean, he really opened himself up to a really nice game with a run by and then sniping the eBay. But as you said, losing the third in the top left, basically unacceptable. And he might now get caught with these Marines looking for the mutas. Oh, is he going to find them? Not quite. Like 2 ships passing the night. Oh, that's going to hurt. Taking a lot of unnecessary damage. 2 mutas get picked off for 3. What a blunder there by Julia. Trying to retake the top left-hand corner. But I feel like Dandy has stabilized in this, what looked like a terrible situation after losing that eBay.
Yeah, I think abandoning the third against 7 Marines is really going to cost Julia this game. He has done good damage with the mutas, but just not when they engage directly against the Marines. Yeah, as you can see there, another couple mutas go down.
Right, so it looks like the Queen's Nest and the Hive didn't necessarily pay off, as you can't really afford to comfortably switch to Defilers. I'm not sure about this. The third gas was really late for Julia after he, of course, lost that hatchery. But maybe it is the right call to make here. Dandy playing a very standard bio and obviously SK Terran style with those double starports producing science vessels. And he's still looking for damage in the natural.
All right, looks like he's gonna morph some Guardians here. There are 2 starports, and I mean, well, the Great Aspire is still only about halfway done. He can't really lose any more mutas though if you're investing into that Great Aspire.
Yeah, he's trying to shift the momentum in his favor at the moment, but he's not really going about it the right way, I feel like it. Because, I mean, Dandy, he's losing those mutas. That's the one thing he can't be doing. He needs to be poking, he needs to be trying to find damage, but first and foremost, he needs to conserve his forces so as not to allow Dandy to actually move across the map and deliver the killing blow. Because, again, his Defiler mount got delayed, and I don't think he has sufficient gas to actually balance his Lurker and Defiler production.
Yeah, and his third saturation is very weak. No drones on minerals yet. And here comes Dandy with a big push. He's going to have 2 irradiates. Looks like he's going to get one of the vessels, which is nice.
Yep. So Dandy is down to 1 Irradiate, but there is only 1 Lurker currently burrowed in the natural, and that means, I mean, he can just bust it. He's got so many Marines, look at that. I mean, is there Dark Swarm ready just yet? Not quite, I don't think. Maybe? No? Alright, Dandy is going to have to back off from this location and maybe try and hit the top left. There's a Nidus Canal there and a few Defilers ready to try and help with the defense. That is a lot of Terran moving across the map. 143 supply to. Is that 68? Is that 58? I can't see. But it is very low. Even for a Zerg. That is really low.
Yeah, Dandy is in a... I mean, he's just way ahead. He's going to make the Guardians now, but it's so late. Even cancels them because they were actually in range of the Marines. Greater Spire not paying off at all. Neither is the +1 for the Mutas. And, I mean, Dandy, he can't really kill Zerg because it's hard to kill Zerg once they have the fighters, but he's just going to keep expanding and keep getting space on the map.
Yeah, I mean, he's setting himself up for a very nice transition to the late game. He's got those 2 dropships, so he is going to try and attack into the main base because, as you said, he knows that his opponent has Defilers, and there are basically only 2 ground-based pathways that the Zerg needs to defend. 1 in the top left, well, maybe 2 in the top left, and then 1 leading to his natural. So he needs those dropships to try and circumvent the Defilers and the Dark Swarm, and then he's getting the Physics Lab and looking to switch to battlecruisers. That is a lot of Defilers, by the way. That's 5.
Well, the Guardians are done, but how much can they really accomplish here? One thing that's hurting Danny is he does have weak upgrades on his file, but when he has this much of an army advantage, I don't think that matters. Kind of getting caught here.
Those are going to be really good Lurker Spines. Basically killing half this army for the Terran player, but there's more where that came from. 2 dropships, 3 dropships worth of units unloading in the main base, and there's hardly any defense to speak of. 1 Lurker trying to run in position, gets focused down by Dandy, and this is looking really grim. 2 Defilers trying to crawl back into the main base. 1 Dark Swarm comes down, so this Lurker might survive. I mean, there is just so much space that he needs to cover. 3 more dropships coming in with plenty of units.
It's like 1 manages to get picked off by the Skurs. Dandy, even if he doesn't get any more damage done, he's gonna kill these critical buildings with the upgrades, for the Defilers. I mean, it's gonna be hard for Julia to clean this up. In the meantime, it's gonna be distracted, and Dandy could choose to attack another base. Behind us, Dandy's going up to 4 bases. You can see his macro is fully on point. Vessel's still alive, and he's just being very annoying here.
Yeah, just the macro machine, the macro engine kicked in, and Dandy is showing why he's one of the best Terran players on the foreign scene. He's just out macroing Julia here, even though he's just on, like, what, 6 barracks. It feels like there's no end to the Terran onslaught here. The 3 Guardians that Julia morphed when used at all, still parked in 12 o'clock. Got more and more dropships coming into the main base of our Zerg player, unloading those bio forces. Do the radius to try and help with the attack. And, do you think there's any way for Julia to come back into this? Because, I mean, if he had a 4th, then maybe, but he's still stuck on 3 bases and he's struggling to secure, well, basically batten down the hatches in the main base.
It's gonna go for a Hydra Lurker, but I think Danny's just way too far ahead here.
Yeah, a lot of tech structures got picked off as well. The Queen's definitely fell. I think 1 Evo Chamber as well. And the first battle cruisers are now out on the map, heading towards the top left. One of them going after, well, I think a drone. He's only just now spotted the Guardians.
Yeah, during all that action, Julia forgot he had made 3 Guardians at the 12 o'clock end. They're here at the net, but again, they're not going to accomplish much. It's so late in the game for Guardians to be effective.
Yeah, Dandy setting his sights on the top left-hand corner. Good play on one of the battle cruisers, but there's only 1 Spore colony there to defend. And I mean, the entire Terran army is now headed towards the top left. I don't think that Defiler has enough energy for a Dark Swarm because he cast a Plague, so he would need to consume one of his own units. So basically made that a possibility. And it could irradiate one of the Lurkers. I'm pretty sure the other one also got irradiated, though I'm not 100% sure on that one. No, it didn't. Okay. But still, there's just too much Terran. He's on 4 bases against the 3 of Julia.
Yeah, Knight is now going to get killed, which is really the critical building here. Now the Irradiates will take care of the rest, and then Dandy can push in with his bio army.
Yeah, I mean, he's only on 40 SCVs, and even still, he's absolutely caked up beyond belief. I mean, he had more than 2,000 minerals in the bank just a minute ago, 1,300 gas still remaining, and a massive force parked outside the top left-hand corner of Julia. The battle cruisers seem to have been picked off, but there's probably more where that came from. And he's just spread too thin, Julia is. Look at that, he's got 3-4 Lurkers in the main base, Defilers there as well, because he's still scared that he might get dropped by the Terran player. And I mean, he's right to be scared, basically, at this point.
I mean, this is just waiting for Julia to run out of options.
Pretty much, yeah. He's getting starved by Dandy. 3 more battlecruisers headed towards the top left. A nice Lurker run by, but that is going to get thwarted by the Terran player.
But nice immediate scan, and Dandy's going to deal with this before it can get any damage done.
Yeah, I mean, a few good Lurker spines, but that wasn't enough. And now, how do you deal with the battlecruisers in the top left? How many Scourge would he actually need to deal with all these Terran units?
I mean, the Scourge are going to die in one shot, and if there's no Defiler, the Hydras are also going to die pretty quickly. So he's just going to go for the Nidus, and then the battlecruisers can deal with the rest. Does he have enough for a swarm here? So at least the Hydras stay alive for a little bit longer. It's like, yeah, but now, I mean, he could just focus the drones. He could just hit a Lurker that's not under swarm. It's going to be pretty difficult for Julia to defend this position any longer.
Yeah, this was a really good opening for Julia, but unfortunately he didn't manage to capitalize on that initiative game in the early game with the Ling run by. And now, I mean, Dandy is just showing why he's one of the best players outside of South Korea.
Leaving himself open to a counter at his 4th base by keeping all his army here, but even if he loses his base, he's still perfectly fine. Look how much bio he has back at home.
Yeah, this all comes down to the fact that winning in Brood War is actually, like, killing your opponent is really difficult, especially in a situation where your Zerg opponent has those Dark Swarms, those Lurkers. They just mitigate damage really well. And we just need to wait for one of the players to run out of minerals, so to speak. I mean, this is pretty good. He's got 2 more Lurkers burrowed in that mineral line. He's got a nice attack coming in from Dandy. Good scan. There aren't any Defilers there that I can see at the very least. No Dark Swarms to maybe help hold off the aggression.
Yeah, Dandy just said, F it. I'm tired of this game, and he's going to go for the bust at the natural. Quickest way to end the game is just to break down the Zerg's natural.
And yeah, this could probably be... I mean, he could try and run past his Dark Swarm into the main base, but I don't think he's going to risk it. I mean, look at how much money he's got in the bank. 3,000 minerals, 2,200 gas, still sitting on 4 bases. Can we take a look at the bottom right if those Lurkers are still there? Yes, they are, so he forced the lift. And he has stabilized in the top left, but the problem is he still doesn't have a 4th base, and he needs a 4th gas to maybe try and push back. Because right now he's surviving, but there's absolutely no way for him to fight back against this army in a slightly more even situation.
Yeah, he's just gonna... I mean, even though he's not very effective with these, he's really just trying to end the game. And Julia holding on by a thread, but still holding on. I mean, Defilers and Lurkers very effective.
Yeah, again, cornered off here in the bottom left and the top left. The battlecruiser's now finding a nice sweet spot behind the mineral line. Obviously, the Dark Swarm is helping, but not for long. Oh, there was another lurker run by at the third.
Yeah, 19 kill lurker there, so pretty nice move. From what I've seen, Julia in the mid game didn't seem that strong, didn't seem quite comfortable with the Mutalisk, but this defensive style with Dark Swarm and lurkers he seems to be much better at, and even though he's at a deficit, he's holding on for a lot longer than I expected.
Well, Julia had a really good early game, and I think he definitely needs to focus on that particular aspect in the second and maybe the third game as well. But this seems unrecoverable.
Well, Dandy isn't really mining, as that lurker at the third killed all the SCGs, and the fourth was lifted off. So maybe,
I mean,
he still has that large bank, and I mean, Dandy is throwing a ton of resources away, losing all these battle cruisers and engaging units under Dark Swarm. So maybe Julia is taking that mineral only. The third does finally get cleaned up, but look at Dandy's resources.
Yeah. Well, you are making a good point in that he's thrown away a lot of units for seemingly little gain. As the top left has been stabilized, he's still mining from it. 31 drones to 42 SCVs. The main has been mined out. The bottom right for Dandy hasn't been reclaimed just yet. The third only just now being saturated once again. 3-2 upgrades on the bio. And he did throw away a lot of science vessels and battle cruisers, so maybe there's still a chance for Julia, because I mean, Dandy's bank has been depleted. He's down to 400 minerals and 1300 gas, and he's only just now resaturating his bases.
Yeah, and this swarm is actually going to be very nice here. If you can get one lurker under the Dark Swarm, this will force a lift. Are there firebats here? Yeah, there are firebats. So ironically, the Dark Swarm working in the favor of the Terran.
Yes, the bag's getting chased away by the arsonists as Dandy stabilizes on his side of the map. No trouble, takes the 12 o'clock. No base from Julia at the 6 o'clock. He's taking the mineral only, but again, the problem is he doesn't have access to another gas, and that is really something you need to be looking for as a Zerg at this point. 3 gas is not enough. I'm pretty sure he's depleted both his, indeed, the gas in the natural and the main base, so he's really starved for gas here. Good plague, but there's plenty more bio where that came from. And we now have irradiates coming down in the top left hand corner. A few of those lurkers going to get picked off virtually for free.
Yeah, another Dark Swarm, but again, Hydras against Firebats. Not what you want to see. You can get a few lurkers here. It looks like their science vessels are at the third base. And there's another Nidus here. So again, Julia holding on. And Dandy's economy isn't that strong, but he did take 12 o'clock. Looks like some lings coming out, and he's actually trading pretty effectively.
Yeah, holding on by a thread, but seems like there's an opening for Dandy to exploit at this third. Although, he needs more units to reinforce this attack if he wishes to punch through. The top left has been stabilized. That is a lot of science vessels. There's a few more showing up at the third. So he's got irradiates for days, basically, at this point. All the lurkers, all the defilers also going to get picked off. Now, we do have a run-by attempt from Julia, finding some of the Terran bio in the middle of the map. But likewise, now Dandy knows that Julia is trying to attack the bottom right, and he's sure to respond correctly.
Yeah, Dandy's sending bio everywhere, all over the map. He's gonna hit this top left base from 2 angles, see if he can get a better engagement here, and it looks like he has found a weak spot in Julia's defense.
Yeah, I mean, he's really trying to hold on for dear life here, Julia is. Because this game shouldn't have lasted this long. It should have ended about 15 minutes ago. But Dandy just kept on throwing units away, and he's still not going to manage to close this game out as the drones come out to defend their gaff in the top left.
More bio heading across the map, and I mean, Julia really needs to counter to keep the pressure on Dandy's side of the map so he can establish these bases. The vessel count is massive here, but they're unprotected. No Scourge from Julia to kill them. He's very low on gas as well because he's depleted main and natural, and his third isn't mining currently.
Yeah, but again, it comes down to the fact that he doesn't have a fourth base with a gas, and that means that as much as he can keep on defending, he's not going to be able to turn the aggression around anytime soon. And at some point, he's just going to run out of minerals. I mean, irradiates don't cost anything; they just cost time. Because, energy needs to build up. Packs up Olinas into the United now. This time, I think he's finally broken the top left. Now, we do have a bit of a counter in the bottom right. Nice Dark Swarm. Trying to supplement this attack.
And Julia losing that top left base. Now he has no gas, and Dandy's still mining. Still has that large vessel fleet, and even though he's going to scan this base, there's not really much he can do to kill it.
Yeah, Julia refusing to give up. Still thinks he has a chance in this game, but as the observers, we do know that is probably not the case, as he is now down to 2 gases, both of which have been depleted. And as Zerg in a TVZ, that is pretty much the resource you kind of need to look for if you want to hold off against science vessels, battle cruisers and such. And I think we have the final nail in the coffin being put in the coffin by Dandy. An attack at third, mass amount of bio hitting inside the natural of his opponent.
I mean, Dandy actually lost all his mining, but again, not gonna matter here.
Yeah, he could just wait this out and slowly but surely kill every single unit with irradiates without actually having to run into the lurkers, the defilers. But this is going to be it. This is going on for a little bit too long. I mean, you can't really blame him though, you know. The top 8, you get a free, or you get a not expenses paid trip to Vladivostok. I've never been. You ever been?
No.
That's pretty far away from where I live.
Alright, there he leaves the game finally, and Dandy wins the first match.
Yup, GG. After 30 minutes of back and forth, well, maybe not exactly back and forth, but Julia was really holding on for dear life there. And it's good to see that he's come back in full force, really wants to show good games in this series. Had a really good opening, really good early game, but didn't necessarily manage to capitalize on the opening he's managed to create for himself with the Link run by and then the eBay snipe. Hopefully, you know, he comes back in game number 2, game number 3 maybe, because again, we are playing best of 3s all, well, through and through basically, all group long. So yeah, we have to wait and see what map he's chosen for game number 2. Alright, game number 2 is going to be on Circuit Breakers. We've just been informed by Zero. Again. Alright, let's get it loaded up then. Game number 2, Dandy versus Julia.
Alright, in the bottom left spawn we have Dandy, our Peruvian Terran player.
And his opponent in the top right, hailing from Poland as the Red Zerg, he is Julia, currently trailing in the series. On the ropes, best of 3, with Dandy in the lead. So these are actually seemingly really good spots for Julia, right? If we're assuming that he wants to play this drawn-out macro style, these are basically the best spawns he could have gone for, right? Because first of all, taking your third base as the main is like he's gonna have 2 options basically, which have equal benefits seemingly, which leaves Dandy guessing to a certain degree, right?
Yeah, and while we did see Julia have a nice advantage in that last game, I think his weakness is actually in the mid game, because late game he seemed to be on top of things, finding areas where he could be effective and cost efficient. But that mid-game mutalist control was really lacking. Even though he managed to snipe off several key buildings, every time he engaged the Marines, it just seems like he was bleeding off mutas.
Yes, the muta control really was abysmal there to a certain degree, but maybe he wants to, like, he needs to switch to lurkers a little bit quicker, but I'm not sure if you can do that off of 2-hatch muta in these positions. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But from Dandy, I would expect the same build through and through, 2 racks opening with an expansion into standard bio, into SK Terran. No shenaniganry there. You know, again, if it ain't broke, why fix it, right?
Yeah, and here we go. 6 lings right off the bat for Julia. It is cross map, so it's unlikely they're gonna get anything done. Oh, he's gonna hide, trying to catch this SCV, so he can't get in. Looks like, oh, Danny's reaction not good there. He loses the what's it called, the SCV right away. He's gonna need a bunker. Looks like he will be able to get that in time. It is cross map after all, and he's gonna have enough Marines. And Julia actually doesn't actually have a ton of options to punish the bunker. Like, the timing isn't there, and he actually is gonna go for a 3-hatch, something I haven't seen in a very long time.
Yeah, very interesting to see that 3-hatch play from Julia. We do have an STV pool to try and make it difficult for the lings to slip past. The problem for Dandy here is that he is in the dark. Like, he's playing blind. He doesn't know what is happening on the other side of the map, and it's not like he's got an SCV out. And even if he did try to slip one out, Julia's there with his lings, so it is going to be really difficult for Dandy to gain any information this game and then respond accordingly. But then again, he's got a very good middle of the road build that plays well into any style, so I wouldn't be too worried if you're a Terran fan.
And he actually manages to get a Marine there and leave with 3 links, so I think that was worthwhile. Now, I still don't know about the gas seal. That doesn't really make much sense to me. And what is his follow-up going to be? And what is Dandy's follow-up? Because he went 1 Rax gas, and he's completely in the dark here.
Oh, he's actually going for an eBay, so +1 most likely with 5 racks, maybe 4, we'll see. But a little bit unorthodox. I was again expecting him to go for that 2 racks.
Yeah, and he actually never got in the main build. The SCV died right at the ramp, so he's not sure what he's going up against. It could be 2-hatch or 3-hatch. Oh, this is a good move up. The Overlord cross map has a very tough time getting to the net to see any move out. So if you don't have any lings there, it can be difficult for you to see this kind of play. And Julia preemptively made that sunken. He's not even aware Dandy's out on the map.
Yeah. Now the question is Dandy going to try and do something with this push out anyway? Now he's going to head back home. He was trying to scare his opponent, but Julia, again, as you said, wasn't even aware that his opponent was trying to move across the map. Academy follow-up, so we are going to see a few more barracks now being added to the production cycle here for the Terran. And what kind of a tech structure is going to be for the Zerg? It's going to be a Spire, but off of 3 hatches, which is, as you said, a little bit unorthodox in the current meta.
Spire and Hydra Den here at the same time. Now when the scan goes off, they might catch the Hydra Den, but they probably won't see the Spire. The scan in the main will see the extended creep though, so he will know that there's a 3rd hatch.
Yes, yeah. And the question is, he going to waste the 2nd scan to maybe try and confirm if there's another structure or not? We'll wait and see. Julia was checking for something in the top left, I think.
Okay, so Spire sees 3 hatch and the den.
Oh, is he thinking that this is a lurker bust now?
No, 3-hatch lurker is not an aggressive build. And immediately goes for refinery, so I think he's gonna tech up. But this is actually pretty clever from Julia, because now there's gonna be mutas at Dandy's base, and Dandy is saving scans now because he expects lurkers.
Yep, indeed. Do you have any turrets going up in anticipation of those mutalisks if they were to come? Not exactly. Yeah, it's like he's playing against lurkers. He's going for, I think, a factory as opposed to a 5th barracks. which means we do have a quicker switch to maybe tanks even on the cards here for our Terran player. Yes, indeed, that is a factory and still no turrets in sight. He might be in for a rude awakening as those mutas pop.
Yeah, and Dandy didn't make any Marines for a very long time there. There's the third for Julia going at top left, and this is perfect for him.
Yep, the only way this could have been better if that it would be if Dandy were to move out right at this moment. The Mutalisks are headed towards the natural. There's absolutely no defense. 8 of them showing up. Oh, this is going to hurt. Dandy retreating those SCVs back into the main base.
What is Julia's Mutalisk micro though? Because this should get incredible amount of damage. And it looks like Dandy quick with the pulls. Hasn't lost too many SCVs here, bleeding off the Marine here and there. And I mean, now the Mutas are a little bit cornered, but again, the Marines are coming in one at a time, so this is a lot of damage already done.
Yes, I mean, on like TR24, this could probably be game over. But again, they are probably playing on TR12, maybe TR16, and the Muta control maybe isn't as crisp as it could normally be. And I mean, he's dealt quite a lot of good damage. 25 drones to 31 SCVs. Dandy now has to invest in those turrets. His tech got a little bit delayed as well as a result. And he's only on 4 barracks.
Yeah, he doesn't have that many Marines. So, I mean, look at his Marine count. It's actually very, very weak. A follow-up lurker bust to these mutas could be very effective for Julia.
Yeah, and he's swooping back in. The turrets aren't quite finished. There's only one there to greet the Mutalisks, and he's still finding a lot of damage.
I see a window here for Julia if you can keep the Marines occupied in the main to position lurkers at the natural.
Yeah, meanwhile, he's expanded to the top left, as we can see on the minimap. So this is a really good position for our Polish player. 31 drones to 34 SCVs.
He lost a couple Mutalisks there. He would have had 9 here. Now he only has 7. So looks like Julia's just gonna sit back and macro up.
Yeah, he probably shouldn't be doing this. Like, if he bears in mind what happened in game number 1, where the muta control in the early game was pretty good, but then in the mid game it kind of fell off. He can't really give away the initiative that he currently has, the map control, and the fact that he can constantly apply pressure with these Mutalisks. That is usually what does the trick, not the fact that you're actually dealing damage, but the threat of dealing damage very often does the trick by itself. We have another scan coming down in the main base. Sees 2 Evo chambers, a Queen's Nest, and a Hive on the way, +1 attack on the way. Lurkers now burrowed in the top left-hand corner. I think Julia is going to be looking to take a fourth relatively soon as well.
Yeah, it's going to be Hydra Lurker yet again. And Dandy is going to have a few tanks. Probably want to switch into double factory production with this, but not quite yet. Julia does have a nice economic position, and Dandy has a very low Marine count. But again, I feel like Julia could have done a lot more with his Mutalist.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this is a slightly different style because obviously he is investing in the tanks. Dandy is, because the lurkers came out a lot earlier than in game number 1, and the vessel count is going to be reduced as a result. Nonetheless, cannot give up the initiative here. Julia,
one hit away on that science vessel.
Yeah, that would have been a really good pickoff.
Oh, looks like Dandy messing up the control a little bit.
Ooh.
Science vessel goes down, and there's no detection now. One of the tanks is very low in the red, so not very clean there at all from Dandy, but he does manage to go across those bridges.
Yeah, but maybe a little too stubborn. Maybe he should have just gone back and gone around the high ground instead. But as is, he lost the tank, he lost the science vessel, a lot of Marines as well. And Julia is still macroing comfortably on 3 bases, probably gearing to take that fourth in the top left as well. And we have a greater spy follow-up. Oh, that could be dangerous.
I kind of like this because he knows Dandy's only on 1 Stargate, starport, and he's gonna go Hydra Lurker to follow us up. But he might actually be in trouble here if these tanks can get close enough. Like, he's gonna have to use these Guardians defensively.
Does he even have Guardians? The Great Spire isn't done just yet. And yeah, as you said, there might not be sufficient units to actually hold off the aggression here. He's got 2 tanks with Siege. The Sunken's buying a lot of time for our Zerg player. Consume already in place, so maybe going to try and bust out with a good Dark Swarm. And indeed, that comes down. The tanks are all but dead.
Nice. Just in time there for Julia. Now, Julia can actually make it really scary for Dandy if he goes Hydro Lurker Guardian with the 5 support. It's a very difficult composition to deal with. But if he just goes with the Guardians alone, those won't be that difficult to pick off.
Yeah. But he could get a really good position outside the natural of his opponent for these Guardians.
He's going to go and take a 4th. And, I mean, this is a pretty fast 4th. He cancels it, which is a little bit curious. I feel like with the Nidus, he could have sent units out to defend that. And if you can see, it was only 2 Marines and a medic. So, very fast reaction there, but it wasn't at all necessary for Julia.
Yeah, a little bit preemptive there. Could have waited for those units to actually hit the hatchery, but I don't think it's going to come into play as much as it probably could. The Guardians are about to move, I think, outside the natural of our Terran player. We have a drop coming into the main base of the Zerg. Is Julia aware? Yes, he is. He's got an Overlord there to provide a vision. The question is, does he have enough units to actually defend against this? 3 Fire Bats and Marines focusing down the Defiler Mound. Ooh, this is going to hurt.
And the Guardians are morphing. No drone pull by Julia. The harassment still in the main. Looks like he's going to go for the pull next, and he actually might be able to kill us as well. So no Defilers and no... okay, come on. Can he get it? Can he get it? It's close. It's like he is going to get the pull. So no Defilers and no links for Julia for a while. And the Guardians are here. But again, Julia could just go Hydra Lurker, which he was planning on doing anyway.
He's miscontrolling those Guardians. One of them fell, I think, to the Marines, as Zero was highlighting, with 3 more morphing. Do you think he should have waited until he had like 6? Because he morphed 3, went in, and then started morphing more. But now the element of surprise is gone for Julia. Like, Dandy knows.
It's still going to do a lot of damage. Dandy's only on 1 starport, and his vessels are across the map. So this is getting a ton of damage done.
Yeah, he's getting his 2nd starport, but we do have a drop in the natural. A lot of drones getting focused down by the Marines, mown down before the Dark Swarm comes in to save the day. 34 drones to 54 SCVs. The 4th has been finished in the top left-hand corner for our Zerg player. More and more Guardians getting picked off, so we're getting a bit sloppy there once again with the control. Is Julia. We have a drop in the main base. Oh, the Lurkers are not in range to actually help against these Marines. Good scan. Comes down to kill that 1 Lurker. I mean, Julia is in hot water here. A bit of a pickle as well, he's taking a lot of damage in the main base and the natural.
Yeah, very good drops by Dandy. And while the Guardians did do a lot of damage, they didn't actually kill that much in terms of SCVs. And the drops in the main still alive. And there's the pool finally being rebuilt. Julia does have the 2 bases at top left, but Dandy took his 3rd. He still has his vessels alive, and now he's going to switch into battle cruisers. He probably... Oh, yeah, but...
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I feel like Danny probably needs a 3rd starport. He was on 1 for such a long time.
Yeah, this is going to be big, though. He's got 2 Lurkers and a Dark Swarm coming into the 3rd base. Now, remember, he's not really comfortably mining from the natural because of those Guardians. But we have a massive attack coming in from Dandy to the natural. Dark Swarm not in place, only just consumed coming down. A good radiant on one of the Lurkers. I think he needs to back off for now, but he's already dealt quite a lot of damage to the defensive structures of to the defensive setup of Julia. But again, the 3rd base, the mineral only. That was a massive plague, by the way, as highlighted by Zero. The 4th base getting focused down by the Terran player, good Dark Swarm to save the day. But again, if we could take a look at the... oh, it's still going to go down. No. That 1 Lurker working overtime to try and save... Oh! Don't tell me that is going to happen.
And the swarm runs out. There's enough fire bats here to deal with flings, and looks like Dandy is going to break through here. Julia doesn't have much left over after holding off the relentless pressure from Dandy.
Yeah, he's still sieging that third of the Terran player, if I'm not mistaken, the mineral only. But there is absolutely no defense left in the natural. The fire bats are running rampant, and there's more and more units trickling across the map for Dandy. Is this it? Is this going to be the 2-0 that we were expecting to come out for our Terran player? It's looking more and more like it.
And there it is, 2-0 Dandy. Dandy advances to the winners match, and Julia dropping down to the losers bracket.
Yeah, but no surprises there, to be honest. I think we both expected Dandy to win this without necessarily breaking a sweat, and he really did show up in full force. 2-0 for our Peruvian player as we gear up to go into our second series of Group D. That is going to be kogeT versus Gosudark. And that is going to be a ZVP. So if you're used to kogeT playing Terran, then you're in for a treat, because he's actually switching to Zerg, at least for this tournament. Yeah. And
yeah, I'm pretty excited. I want to see the level kogeT Zerg is at. I know he used to be a high level Zerg, but this was what, 10 years ago, maybe more. And high level Zergs back then aren't at the level of the Zergs now. Just there's been a ton of improvements in the foreign scene, but kogeT has also improved since then. I think his Terran is quite strong. I'm not really sure why he's switching, but I'm excited.
Yep. He did ladder quite a lot. He's been streaming recently, and as Zerg, I think he reached like 2300 at the very least. So it's definitely a very respectable level for a foreigner. And yeah, as you said, I'm really looking forward to seeing whether he manages to pull this Zerg off in a competitive setting. And he's going to be going up against a very difficult opponent in Gosudark, in that he doesn't play standard. He's a Peruvian Protoss who has his own take on StarCraft. And it might, throw a wrench in the works here for kogeT, who is probably a little bit more used to playing those standard games so far, at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since kogeT main Zerg, and if I'm Gosudark and I have this information available to me, I'm just gonna keep kogeT off balance. I'm not gonna play standard. No reason to. What kogeT's probably played most of is standard ZVP. So if Gosudark can mix in one of his Dragoon Reaver timings off one base, maybe proxy 2-gate, he should probably take advantage of that.
All right, game number 1 of kogeT versus Gosudark is ready. That is going to be on Fighting Spirit. So let's jump into the series.
All right, in the top left corner on Fighting Spirit, we have Gosudark as the blue Protoss.
And his opponent in the bottom left, representing Netwalls and Poland, the red Zerg, he is kogeT.
All right, so let's see if Gosudark actually goes for one base play. It's like probe heading towards the natural, so at least we're gonna see either a 1-gate or maybe a forge fast expand.
It was like a crazy PVZ, I think, with Gosudark and True Touch in, I can't remember what it was, but a few months ago on Circuit Breakers, where Gosudark went for that one base play that shouldn't have worked, but somehow, some way it did. Or it could be someone else, I may be misremembering, but yeah, the one base play definitely still on the cards for our pros player. That's a very quick scout, by the way.
Okay, looks like kogeT is gonna get scouted first, and he's gonna go for a hatch first build. So this is already throwing a wrench into his plans. Should probably go for a pool right away.
Yeah, but that means Gosudark can probably go for a Nexus first, right? And then fill that up with a Forge. So a really fortunate scout here for Gosudark. Even managed to get the block up in the natural. So yeah, probably, as you said, going for that spawning pool would have been the better choice for kogeT.
Okay, kogeT's actually gonna take the 9 o'clock first, and this is not what you want to do on these spawns. Looks like he scouts the pylon as he makes the hatchery, so he's gonna be a little bit awkward. Gonna see the Nexus first from Gosudark as well. But I'm a little bit confused. Where did Gosudark? Okay, never mind. It's just gonna go Nexus, Forge, and I mean kogeT's still gonna have to deal with this pylon eventually. So this is all very annoying. And already I think maybe kogeT's out of his comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, getting forced to place that that base at the 9 o'clock. I mean, he is going to open himself up to what is happening. What is?
All right, is this actually gonna work? You only need to keep the cannon down for your links to get up, but this seems so risky from kogeT.
I mean,
Basically, I mean, if the links are not anywhere near done, and Gosudark can bring his own probes, so he's fighting. Is he gonna, like, how is he gonna get the cannon now? And he's actually droning up behind us. What?
that was really interesting to witness. But I mean, it might be throwing GhostDark off. He might just move those drones back, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Now, I don't think he knew about the cannon.
I actually think kogeT is ahead. I actually think kogeT is ahead because Gosudark way overreacted to this. But now kogeT's gonna lose an Overlord, and I mean, there's a pylon that he could kill at 9 o'clock, and then probably, I mean, maybe he took 9 o'clock because his plan was to do a fake bust with drones and then transfer to 9. I don't know. This game's all over the place already. Second cannon even from Gosudark.
Build the Clown Fiesta as he sees the third hat tree being built in the natural, which, yeah, again, maybe a bit of an overextension, overreaction from Gosudark. But for the longest of time, he did only have 2 workers mining when he pulled those probes to try and defend the drone drill from our Zerg player.
I mean, if I'm kogeT here, I plant down a hydrogen right away. Protoss doesn't even have a gateway, so.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he could do this even if Gosudark sees it. There's a.
That's exactly.
There's a hydrogen. Okay, so there's a hydrogen, and let's see how this goes on from here.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Is he going to spot that one probe moving out? It's going to be close, but
yeah, you did see it
quite.
with the.
Oh, he did.
Oh no, maybe he didn't see it.
Well, what kind of a Hydra Bust is this going to be, do you think? Just a straight up all in? He's still adding more and more drones. How many does he have there? That is 8. That is, sorry, that was 10. That is 8.
I think 9. He probably wants to get a 4th hatch eventually, just so he can mine from his natural optimally. But I would invest heavily in Hydras. When Protoss's tech is this far behind, they need to invest in so many cannons to not die to Hydras.
Yeah, but his tech is so far behind here. I mean, kogeT could probably just drone out of this.
Well, I mean, kogeT's if you look at kogeT's economy, it's actually already very strong, and
it could be even better.
No, I mean, like, he can get a 4th hatch right away, and then a 5th hatch soon right after. And meanwhile, Gosudark, I think he's completely in the dark. That's why he's making a 3rd cannon at the natural and additional cannon in the main.
See, that's why I was saying kogeT doesn't necessarily need to commit to this attack, because he's got a very healthy economy, and as you said, GhostDark is in the dark. No pun intended. And kogeT could just macro up. He's getting that 4th hat tree. Probably going to aim for 6, which is the standard for mid-game Hydra play. Oh, he doesn't want to show the Hydras, which, yeah, okay, that telegraphs to me that he does want to commit to an attack. Because otherwise, you know, you show your opponent that you have those Hydras, make him.
I think he wanted Gosudark to move out further in the map so he can kill the Zealots.
Maybe, yeah, that would have been likewise a valid option.
No, he
trap
shouldn't.
one of the Zealots.
I don't think he should go for the bust. Maybe kill that exposed cannon so he can deal with the wall a little bit better. There's a Corsair. It's gonna see it's a ton of Hydras, and well, this is bad news for Gosudark. And look how many cannons he's gonna need. This is not an overreaction. He could easily die here. Only thing that's holding kogeT back is the zealots. He's gonna pick these off easily, then the wall, and from now, kogeT could easily drone up and get a 5th and even 6th hatchery.
Yeah. This is looking really grim for our Protoss player. Look at how many cannons he's actually forced to build in the natural. And it all comes down to control as well here for kogeT. Oh, that's a good probe pull, but there's still a lot of Hydras in the natural. Yeah, kogeT will have to back off for the time being. I think there is only one pylon at the back, powering like 4 cannons at the top, and then this one at the bottom. If he only knew, he could probably jump on top of that one pylon. Okay, GhostDark is adding more.
Yeah, but kogeT's already droning up. You can't reveal these drones. Kind of hurts to show your hand. It still looks like a bust to Gosudark, but this is a lot of Hydras. You can see cannons are actually terrible against Hydralisk when they don't have Zealots to buffer for them. And even though it looks like kogeT is throwing away units behind this, he's actually having 5 hatcheries, a lot of drones. Still only on 1 gas, and he's going lair. I wonder what Gosudark actually has in his main.
He's doing so much economic damage to his opponent. He's forcing out cannons, forcing those probes to be pulled. 33 drones to 27 probes on the other side, and a bunch of them aren't mining because they're tentatively pulled just to deal with those Hydras. This is looking like a kogeT win. Of course, I don't want to call it just yet, but as you said, there's very little that GhostDark can do from here. He's got some tech. He's got a Templar Archives. He's got 1 gateway in the main base, but that is about it. He's got, what, like 10 cannons in the natural. That is a lot of money to be spending on static defense.
He's probably going to need more, considering how late his storm timing is. And kogeT already up to 6 hatch. Very nice, healthy drone saturation. Could even take a 4th base here. Second gateway finally going down. Gosudark has an insane amount of gas as he's invested all his resources into making more and more cannons.
Yeah, so what is the killing blow for kogeT? Does he just, like, what's the tipping point? How many Hydras do you think he would actually need to break through this without risking a throw?
20, 24 Hydras, because there's no other units to buffer. And even if probes are pulled, that you just pick off the probes and then keep making Hydras. But with Storm, that changes the equation a little bit. I feel like kogeT is happy with his drone saturation here. 40 is a very healthy number, and he's just making more and more Hydras. And it's going to be impossible for Gosudark to break out of his base because his gateway timing is so late after all these cannons. And I mean, it basically comes down to that when kogeT actually decided to make Hydras, it was already after he had like 25 drones, which is much later than 973, and Gosudark still had to make this many cannons.
Yeah, it's just one tiny mind game in the early game with a drone pull, with a drone drill, and suddenly things are looking really grim for GhostDark. Gonna have an attempted bust. Oh, is it going to be a bust or is it going to be a contain? Because I see lurkers.
Now this is a contain now with Storm available, and looks like Gosudark making even more cannons. Like he's worried about mutas after seeing that Spire as well.
12 cannons. And he's going for a Dark Archon that he desperately doesn't want to show to his opponent, but I think kogeT's spotted that with a Scourge.
At this point, if you're kogeT, you just keep expanding. No reason to go for a bust. This is going to be a longer game. All you have to do is wait for Protoss to mine out.
What about drops? Can you actually go for drops here as kogeT if you want to end the game a little bit quicker?
Definitely, you can go for drops. There's only High Templars and a Dark Archon. There's no actual attacking units, so as long as you spread your Hydras out a little bit. But there's no reason to do that. If Protoss is going to be sitting in their base, it's hard to execute a drop. Maybe when they decide to move out, but basically the goal here is take as much of the map as you can, and Protoss will eventually be forced to move out. They're going to mine out in about 4 or 5 minutes in the main and 6-7 minutes at the natural, so kogeT's in no rush.
Yeah, taking that 4th base every 6 o'clock. Oh, it's just getting further and further ahead. 49 drones to 43 probes. What do the upgrades look like? +1 already finished, +1 armor on the way. I think he's also getting +1 melee units. Well, +1 melee
triple
attack
evolution chamber here from kogeT. No fourth base yet. I mean, that's the only thing that's really holding him back, I guess. Oh, actually, he did make it.
So this is going to be a long one.
Yeah, it's basically up to Gosudark to decide when this game ends. He's gonna try to break out, and there's not that many lurkers, and he might get across this bridge only to get overrun by the swarm. I think that's the most likely scenario for this game to end. And I like how kogeT has positioned Scourge. He has a lot of vision to see in case any kind of drops are coming.
Yeah, this feels like a TBT to a certain extent. He's just trying to corral the opponent off. Corner him in the top left. Yeah. So what is the win condition for Gosudark? Is there a win condition?
If kogeT wasn't prepared for a drop, maybe get a DT drop in as you break out simultaneously and just have like magical storms, but no, it's just not feasible with the way that this game has gone. You seen any good films lately?
All right. I mean, kogeT is repositioning some of his lurkers, really nicely spreading them out so that no storm catches more than one lurker.
I mean, kogeT is playing well in what is a very non-standard game. He's macroing well. He has a lot of drones. He's positioning his units well. So you can see, at least in ZVP, which is, I guess, the easiest Zerg matchup to pick up right away, he's playing pretty well.
What is he trying to do with his Dark Archon? Is he going for mic control? Is he going for Maelstrom? What is he trying to do with that?
I think this was for Maelstrom, in case there was mutas, and it's also pretty effective against Hydras.
Okay, so that's about it. That was the Maelstrom he was hoping for. There's like 50 more lurkers where that came from. Maybe not that many, but still.
Yeah, I'm looking. Once the High Templars run out of storm, kogeT can move in, but there's actually more at the back, so that's a big storm.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming down on top of the Hydras, but the problem is the lurkers are still there. There's so many of them burrowed outside the natural, and they're really nicely spread out. One of the High Templar gets sniped by the Hydras, which in return get hit with a Maelstrom. But I still think it's a good trade for kogeT, trading out like a full control group of Hydras for a single High Templar. I mean, at this point, who's going to stop him? Who's going to say no? He can do whatever he wants. Got that fourth base, probably macroing off like 7 or 8 hatcheries. 60 drones to 43 probes. And as you said, he's slowly but surely, Gosudark is running out of resources in his main, in his natural, and there's literally no way for him to secure a third at the very moment.
Sniping the High Templars here just to make it easier for him to move in when he decides to attack. Looks like Gosudark is going to be able to break out at least of the contain that was held there, but I mean, kogeT has a lot of production here. And the storms are running out. Another High Templars gets picked. I will probably kill the Dark Archon as well and really just focus on pushing through. I mean, Gosudark, is he trying to break the bridge? I would actually be surprised if that was his attempt here. He really should go and take 12 right away as he's about to mine out. He's trading efficiently for now, as he hasn't been forced to cross his bridge because storms are so effective. But I mean, look at what kogeT just has so much more behind us.
Yeah, this is a bit problematic though. He doesn't have access to the same amount of resources as his opponent, and I mean, he's clearing out the pathway towards that 12 o'clock, and the question is, does kogeT actually have any reinforcements to hit that location, or is he just going to go for the jugular as soon as Gosudark moves towards the 12 o'clock? That seems to be the order of the day. That one Hydra having a blast there.
Another base being taken. No hive quite yet from kogeT, so these things aren't as strong as you'd expect. They do have upgrades, and looks like he's now gonna go pounce on the natural, but Gosudark returning just in time. Looks like he's unburrowing those lurkers, trying to get a better position with them. And he's actually probably gonna reestablish the contain. He just needs to reinforce this position right away. And very nice observer snipes all game. And looks like Zealot's getting on top of the lurkers, not what you want to see, but I mean,
there's just so much Zerg, and GhostDark still hasn't secured another pyramid. So even though kogeT may not be perfectly efficient here with his army, he's got so much more where that came from. Oh, that's a good Maelstrom and like 1 or 2 Hydras and a Lurker, but High Templar with 13 kills.
Yeah, and he's just running out of steam. Gosudark. And kogeT just has so much more production. And there we have it. kogeT wins game 1 against Gosudark. And that was a bit of a crazy opener. Gosudark was way behind. You saw how many cannons he had to make. And I mean, that 5 drone pull, very surprisingly effective.
I mean, these games is where experience really shines through. That kogeT didn't panic. He came up with a really ingenious solution to the problem of the opening, or to the problem that he was faced with in the opening. And Gosudark clearly not up to the task, as he overextended a bit with his defense, pulled too many probes to try and hold off the aggression from his opponent, and it really came back to bite him in the bud. So, as you said, kogeT winning that game number 1 against Gosudark. As we gear up to jump into game number 2, this is going to be Gosudark's map choice. And what do you think it is going to be?
I have no idea. I can't predict what Gosudark's gonna play. Maybe he goes for a 2-player map, but I'm not really sure.
All right. Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. So, okay, it's going to be Eclipse, as has just been confirmed by Zero. Gosudark versus kogeT. kogeT, of course, playing Zerg for the very first time in a very long time in a tournament. He usually obviously plays Terran, but not this time.
All right, and looks like we're ready to jump into game number 2. In the top right spawn, we have Gosudark as the red Protoss.
And his opponent in the bottom left as the blue Zerg, representing Poland, and net worth currently up 1-0 in the series. He's kogeT.
Alright, so is Gosudark gonna play standard, or is he again gonna live up to, I guess, fame and do something a little bit sneaky? But it looks like no. Pylon gonna be made at the natural yet again.
I mean, we did arrive at the conclusion that the best way to approach playing this matchup for Gosudark would be to do something a little bit cheeky, a little bit out of the ordinary, because kogeT hasn't had as much time to prepare for this tournament as Zerg. So most likely he would have been preparing for those standard games, whereas Gosudark really known for his unorthodox style. And,
that being said, maybe Gosudark thinks another way. He's like, this isn't kogeT's main race, so in a longer game I should be able to win. But I actually think I mean, it varies from player to player, but I think mechanics transfer over more than you think. And in the late game, if you're a strong player, you're going to be a strong player in any race.
Yeah, especially because kogeT has never really been known as a micro-based player. He's got really good game sense, and he's got a very big brain when it comes to coming up with strategies. So he's got a very good game sense, and that is going to translate into late game capabilities, no matter what race you play, more than anything. So yeah, we'll see if this approach from Gosudark pays off. I would rather see him reverse the type and play those cheesy strategies, but you can't always get what you want. Now, as a reminder,
this time it wasn't overpull from kogeT, so we're going to see Nexus and then Cannon from Gosudark. So this is looking much more standard. And let's see what kogeT can do in a very normal game without having a big advantage in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a few options. Which race do you think Eclipse favors in this particular matchup?
I think it's pretty even. Protoss is happy because there's gas bases everywhere basically, and Zerg is happy because it's a map with several paths, so counters become pretty effective, and it's hard for Protoss to deal with Zergs on two different sides of the map. Looks like kogeT takes that third hatch at the third base. He's going for 3 hatch. Is it going to be 3 hatch Hydra yet again, or will we see him go lair?
I'd like to see him play Mutilus, but probably not going to be the case in this matchup. Because again, they are playing on something like TR12 is the assumption. Because what with kogeT being in Poland and GhostDark in Peru, that is actually quite far away. Well, yeah, we see that third hatchery. Everything relatively standard so far for both players. We're probably going to see a Corsair follow-up for Gosudark as well. Should be the order of the day if he wants to play standard.
All right, I'm looking at his gas count. There's a lair at the natural, so everything's standard so far. Should see speed pretty soon for kogeT. And Gosudark keeping this probe alive for a very long time. Oh, wanted to leave the main there. You gotta be careful when you leave the main because you never know what Zerg can follow it up with. But it looks like he's content with his scouting information and will be happy to eventually send the Corsair to confirm whatever kogeT is doing.
Yeah. Alright, so we are assuming that kogeT is once again going to play something Hydra based, right, around this lair. But probably something a bit more defensive this time, right? Because again, he's going for the lair. That is going to open up lurkers later on. And he's got a very comfortable third here on Eclipse that also gives him access to a third gas, which is probably not as impactful in ZVP as it is in ZVT, but it does eventually come into play later on. The probe gets picked off, but sees that the lair has finished.
Nice snipe there on the probe, and very standard. There's the wait. Okay, not standard. He's going Hydroden. This is 3 hatch fire, and then a Hydroden. But there's a hatchery. Looks like it was just he didn't have enough minerals at the time. And Gosudark going Stargate no +1, and then a Citadel right after. So we're gonna have a speed lock timing here.
He's still making Corsairs, right?
Yeah, he's making at least 2.
Okay. Can't you hold off making the second one? Like, you make the first one, you confirm if it's a Spire or not, and then start, or is it too late to start a second one if it is a Spire?
You can make 2, but 1 to scout, and then if you see a Spire, you can decide to make more or not. But if this was Muta, you really want to have the Corsair already.
I'm pretty sure that's what DeWalt was doing yesterday. It was just opening up with 1 Corsair and then holding off the second one before he scouted. But then again, there were different games, so maybe he got different information.
And so we have kogeT gonna face this early Zealot aggression here from Gosudark. The creep calling isn't gonna be done. The Zealots won't have +1, so they're not gonna be that strong against Zerglings. Then this is enough flanks to actually deal with the early ones. Again, speed Zealots, but without +1, not great against Zerglings.
Yeah, nice drone drill to try and help against the Zealots. The Sunken is doing quite a lot of damage, but the Zealots do get on top of it. More and more coming in to try and reinforce this attack, and kogeT is slowly but surely falling apart here at the third. Still 3 more Zealots to contend with, but another Sunken finishes. And the question is, how much damage is kogeT going to take before this gets cleaned up?
And looks like it's going to be a Muta follow-up, so the fact that he doesn't have Corsairs with +1 is really going to hurt him. And I'm wondering how many he actually has. Looks like he has 2 out on the map, or 1 out on the map and 1 at his base. So he's going to have a good starting base to make Corsairs, but again, no +1, so he has to be careful.
Yeah, that +1 would definitely come in handy. Do you think he's going to start it now that he's seen the flying shrimp?
It's probably a little bit too late for him to do that. Like, it takes a really long time for that upgrade to kick in.
Yeah, just use chrono boosts. Seriously, with Protoss.
Well, he has been forced back into his base. He's gonna have to make cannons to deal with the Muta threat. No +1 at all. Is that correct? These zealots still don't have +1. No, and no forge spinning. So, I mean, I'm actually liking kogeT's position a lot here. That was a heavy investment, and let's see what the Muta micro is like. It's 4 Corsairs, so he's gonna have to run away. Does he have any Scourge with this? Looks like. Why is he committing here? Run away, run away. Okay, so enough damage done though. 30 probes against 45 workers, and there's a DT here that has some kills, but not too many drones. So again, I think kogeT is in a fantastic position. He probably needs more hatcheries though, and he could even take a 4th base if he has okay, there's that drone heading, even getting +1 air. So he's gonna have air control for a very long time. 2 Archons, so an Archon Zealot timing, following up, and I mean, he's still making Corsairs, so he eventually will retake the air, and kogeT really just needs to buy time here until he gets enough Hydras.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the word fantastic does justice to his current economic situation. 44 drones to 32 probes on the other side of the map. The Corsairs get caught by the Mutalisk and the Scourge. How many are going to connect? Needs to watch out for that Archon, but as you said, he is going to have to hold off this next push from the Protoss player, which is actually quite scary too. Sunken's going to be ready at the 3rd. Wondering how many in the natural. A few Hydras there, making it really difficult. The SimCity for those Zealots to push through. But there's more Protoss where that came from. More and more reinforcements streaming across the map. The 2 Archons making it really difficult for the Mutalisks to engage the Corsairs. But it seems like there might be enough kogeT to actually hold off this attack. Yes, indeed, only 2 Archons remaining on the ground. The Corsairs getting focused by the Hydras as well. And now the Mutas can get on the chase, get in pursuit of those flying units. And this has been cleaned up without necessarily taking too much damage there for kogeT. 36 drones to 38 probes. Still a very healthy situation for our opponent player.
kogeT, if he's an experienced Zerg player, after you hold an attack, just make a round of drones, and he's doing that. He's going up to 40 now. He has a 7th hatch at the 4th base as well, making even more drones. Pretty sure he's gonna mix in lurkers any second now, and man, this is looking bleak for Gosudark.
Yeah, once again, running out of control here is kogeT's eco. I mean, it might come down to the upgrades. I don't know. I'm not a PvZ expert, but you pretty much always see that +1 attack on those Zealots. You very often see the +1 on the Corsairs if your opponent is going for Aspire, but that wasn't really the case for Gosudark, and now he is going to be facing quite a lot of aggression from kogeT, seemingly, as a lot of Hydras do try to congregate outside the natural of the Protoss.
Yeah, and this lurker about to be complete. The robo just started.
All right, so once again, we are in a situation where GhostDark is on the back foot, and we need to figure out what the winning condition for our Peruvian player is.
Well, he had 2 failed attacks, and he delayed his +1 to do them, and now he's going to have blade upgrades. He also made a lot of cannons to deal with the Mutas, and he's only on 6 gateways, and it's about 12 minutes into the game. Only now his robo is about to finish, so it's not looking good. It's not looking good for our Protoss player here.
But we do have a bit of a counter-attack in the natural. Somehow those Zealots managed to slip through. A nice cocoon block. Nice egg block from kogeT to prevent those Zealots from getting into the main base, but they are still going to run rampant in the natural.
Yeah, they're not likely to get anything done. Retreating Hydras coming back, and that was actually very clutch egg block, because if those Zealots get into the main, they would be so much more annoying. Oh, what's this? kogeT moving forward, gets a High Templar, and here we are with the Lurker Contain being set up. This is looking, I mean, it's not as bad as game 1 was, but it's still really, really awkward for Gosudark here.
Yeah, having a bit of a deja vu moment with those lurkers outside the natural of our Protoss player. Things looking really grim. As kogeT is setting up a perimeter outside the base of our Peruvian player now. We do need to see a few Scourge maybe on the left, on the right, to try and prevent any shuttles, any Corsairs from slipping past this army. A good storm nonetheless, but he's going to need a lot more where that came from. More and more lurkers setting up outside, setting up shop outside the base of Gosudark.
Yeah, and Hydra, Lurker, and Mass, he's up to 9 hatcheries, I think. And Gosudark only adding his additional gateways now. Like, you really want to be on 8 as quickly as possible. He's only going up to 8 now. He only has +1, no other forge upgrade spinning, and I think kogeT's going to have +2 pretty soon. Oh, we have the infamous egg. We had the infamous egg attack, and
yeah, we nearly had a perfect broadcast without the bug, but alas, the streak has been broken. So many maps without it popping up, but yeah, got the better of us this time.
All right, the egg is on a 1-game winning streak against Zero. Let's see if Zero can come back.
All right, we'll get that replay loaded back up in no time. So once again, it seems like an unwinnable position for Gosudark after those failed attacks with kogeT setting up shop. He's got the eco lead, he's got the upgrade lead, he's got so many more bases than his opponent, and he's got a really solid position out on the map, outside the natural. And yeah, I mean, if there are any win conditions still valid for Gosudark, then I hope you can enlighten me. But it doesn't seem like there's any chance for the Peruvians to actually make it back into the series.
Yeah, the Lurker contain is actually going to be worse than the one on Fighting Spirit. kogeT has a lot more area to maneuver his Hydras against Storm, and it's going to be very difficult for Gosudark to break out of this contain.
Yeah, because there's also like only one direction you have to worry about, right? Whereas on Fighting Spirit, the path like sort of bifurcates. One goes through the bridge, the other one leads to the 12 o'clock. But yeah, as you said, it's going to be really difficult here. We've got the replay loaded back up. No problemo. Gosudark in the top right, kogeT bottom left. As he's slowly but surely starting to suffocate his opponent. The Zerg, that is. Alright,
killing the egg to help Zero out a little bit. Here is Gosudark. And look how many lurkers just unmorphed or morphed from all those cocoons. And an observer goes down as well. I mean, this is very, very hard. He's pushing forward with the Dragoons. You want to keep the Zealots back, but he has so few Storms. He only has 2 High Templars. Once these Storms run out, kogeT can just 1A, 2A, 3A with all his ground army.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have an evil Archon this time. So no chance of breaking through. I mean, he's trying. He's really doing his best, but he's only got Dragoons left. Now Lings are going to get on top of his army. No cannons to retreat behind. 3 of them, but what is 3 cannons, eh? And Gosudark leaves the game. That means kogeT is going to win this series with a clean 2-0 to advance to the winners match, where he's going to face off against Dandy in a ZVT. Meanwhile, Gosudark falls to the lower bracket, where he's going to face off against Julia. Man, that was really impressive from kogeT.
Yeah, that was actually surprisingly one-sided in both games, and now we're gonna have to see the real test. kogeT Zerg against Terran, because this is completely different. ZVP, it's a macro-based matchup, and ZVT, you really need to rely on your micro, and I think that comes later when you're switching a race. So let's see if kogeT can do better than Julia, basically.
Yeah, we'll see if that comes into play again. There is going to be a little bit of lag here. Obviously, kogeT in Poland, Dandy in Peru. But again, I mean, I don't think Dandy changes anything, despite, you know, there's being a different player. I still think we're constantly going to see those bio openings leading into SK Terran, be it the 2 racks opening, be it the +1 5 racks. I don't suppose we're going to see any mech. Dandy doesn't really strike me as a mech player. So it's like the ball is in kogeT's court. to basically make something happen here.
Yep.
All right. Let me have a look at what the first map of this series is going to be. It's going to be Blue Storm. All right. The first time we've seen it today. It got played a few times yesterday, but definitely excited for this one. You know, variety is the spice of life, and we haven't seen Blue Storm just yet. Again, here's a quick recap of what's happened in Group D so far. Dandy and kogeT are facing off in the winners match. Winner goes to Vladivostok, and then Julia versus Gosudark fighting for the tournament life in the elimination match.
And we are ready to start. All right, in the bottom left corner, we have the red Zerg kogeT.
And his opponent in the top right in the blue trunks, playing Terran, representing Peru, he's Dandy.
Now, these two, I've seen them play TVT, and I mean, very, very high level TVT. So kogeT, I think, maybe would be slightly favored against Dandy in TVT. Maybe Dandy has a slight edge currently, but overall, I mean, I think he has a better shot with Terran, to be honest, than Zerg. But kogeT's going full Zerg for this tournament, not race picking, and let's see what he can get done.
I mean, this is a very smart way to approach this for kogeT, because not only he himself mains Terran, so he knows what this matchup looks like from the other the other side, right? But he knows what ZB2 looks like from the Terran's perspective. He also knows how Dandy plays. Meanwhile, Dandy, I wouldn't say he knows what kogeT's Zerg looks like in this matchup. So it's a very smart thing to do for kogeT to not race big in this tournament, but just go for Zerg full time.
These two do have somewhat of a history involving race picking. This goes way back to BSL 4. I think it's 4 or 5, the one that had Sparkle, where they faced in the finals, and Dandy back then was still playing Protoss against Terran. He was a race picker before Remastered and during the early stages of it. And Dandy played Protoss every single game against kogeT, and it led up to a Game 7 on Sparkle, where Sparkle's a very good Terran map against Protoss. And Dandy decided to race pick, and he picked Terran against kogeT on that map, and he won the last map in the tournament to beat kogeT in the finals of BSL 4. And just a little bit of history there. But kogeT playing Zerg, let's see what kind of level he's at, because Gosudark is a good test, but Dandy's just a different type of player here.
Yeah, we do have this wall going up for Dandy. Is he going to go for 2-port rate here? Oh,
this could be proxy factory into 2-port. This could definitely be that.
That is dirty. Yep, he's still mining gas. That is going to be a 2-star follow up most likely.
I feel like this is a strategy kogeT might do.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Taking a page out of kogeT's book. How do you like them apples now?
Interesting that it is a 3-hatch, and he's already scouting for a factory. Unfortunately, it's one that's going to be floated in, so he... Oh my goodness, he senses it. Can he actually get the SCV? This would be massive.
How is... What a jammy bastard finding it like that. Oh, if I'm Dandy, I'm properly cheesed off about this.
Looks like Dandy is going to be able to finish that factory, though. It's very, very close, but...
Oh, manages to get it, but still, this is pretty good for kogeT, because now he's not going to allow this factory to actually
If I'm
land.
kogeT, what's stopping me from going 3-hatch Hydra here and just punishing your build? Like, there it is. There's a Hydra den.
Morals, probably. But he's not going to allow for this factory to land. And,
I mean, this is going to require a ton of attention from both. Look like kogeT's slipping a little bit. Can he actually manage to land that factory? It looks like it. I mean, I don't see the lings. I'm assuming kogeT is on top of this.
But did he also get the scouting SCV? As in, he killed 2 SCVs this game already.
eBay from Dandy. I'm not really sure what that's for, but it's not gonna be 2-port follow-up.
Yeah, we do have that Hydra Den for kogeT, 3 hatcheries, as you were saying. The factory, is it finally going to be allowed to land? Not quite. Buildings should be allowed. Like, buildings should be able to land on units and just crush them. Like this is yeah. StarCraft 3, please implement that.
All right, Hydra's not being revealed quite yet, just going across the map with them, and this is pretty smart. If Dandy doesn't get a bunker up, he's gonna have a really tough time. It looks like the follow-up is actually gonna be Bio, which in at least for Dandy's sake is pretty good, but I think the Hydra will hit before that, so I mean he's got to get something done. 3 Marines will be enough to deal with the early Hydras, but they're gonna keep coming, and looks like Dandy wants to get this Vulture out, and it's not gonna have speed or any upgrades. The Hydras will have speed pretty soon, so this is really just to buy time. Let's see if Danny's on top of it. Looks like nope, manages to get out but die right away.
I mean, Dandy is on 1 base and he's pumping out more and more barracks. So do you see a macro follow-up after this, or is this going to be some kind of an all-in attack from our Terran playing? He's getting +1 attack. He's on 3 barracks.
I mean, here's the thing. That bunker is going to hold off, but it's going to need to be repaired. He could die before he gets anything. He doesn't have any medics. kogeT can pounce on this bunker, but it has to be really fast, all at once. Otherwise, Danny can repair that, and then his timing is gone. And it looks like a 4th barracks even being added. This isn't going to be enough, I don't think, with that 1 SCV repairing. Looks like the bunker health is actually going down, and the Marines are actually going to get picked off, but no medics here to support, so the Hydras will actually win, and I think this game's over.
Wow, 6 minutes, 25 seconds, and Dandy is on the ropes against kogeT Zerg. Wow. The timeline really has taken a weird turn after Harambe died.
And there's that GG, very quick win for kogeT. Just good game sense to scout, and really good control with the links to keep the factory from landing, and 3 Hydra, just a good follow-up to what he was scouted.
Yeah, and now kogeT is 1 map away from qualifying to the top 8 of the tournament, and a ticket to GhostDark. He's playing Zerg.
Yeah, wow. I think Dandy is just gonna play standard and say, I can beat you in a standard game now in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, this was a bit of an unorthodox map. You know, Blue Storm isn't something you see every day. I mean, maybe it used to be a little bit more standard, but definitely isn't anymore. So the question is, what kind of a map does Dandy pick? Are we thinking Fighting Spirit, Circuit Breaker, something like that?
I think Circuit Breaker.
Circuit Breaker, all right. I'm thinking maybe Fighting Spirit or Neo Silver. That's also a decent map in this situation, I think. But we'll wait and see as we get the next game loaded up, hopefully. All right, let's jump into it. Game number 2, kogeT versus Dandy for a ticket to Russia in about a month and a half. Ooh.
All right, and in the top right, we have kogeT as the white Zerg, and the map is Eclipse.
And his opponent in the bottom left as the, what color is that? Is that gray Terran? He is Dandy. Yeah, let's go with the yellow. Yellow and yellow, please.
All right, and I mean, 2-player map again, but I think Danny's just gonna play standard here. He really wants to test kogeT in a longer game, I think. He's gonna get a depot here. He's gonna wall his Nat. This doesn't necessarily mean mech. This is still could be for bio.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this map choice. I mean, Terrans do seem to like it for some reason, but as Zerg, you get a very easy third that comes with a gas, and that is basically all you need to survive in this matchup. And it's not like you can actually assault it as Terran, because the ramp is very, very narrow leading to it. So I'm a little bit baffled by this choice. Nonetheless, he probably knows what he's doing. So we'll see how that comes into play here. How the map architecture comes into play in this game.
All right, 12 hatch from kogeT going out with a drone scout.
Yeah, looking for any proxies just in case, just to be extra safe.
Still no gas from Danny, so it's just going to be bio and no. Okay, there's the scout. kogeT trying to get. Let's see how good his micro is with the drone. He's got off a few hits already.
I mean, yeah, but they're on like TR 12, so it's really difficult to pull off the sliding drone. Nonetheless, valiant effort. So what are we expecting out of kogeT? Do you think we'll be seeing Mutalist play? That is the standard way to approach this particular matchup of two hatcheries, obviously, or are we thinking something cheeky from our ex-Terran, I suppose?
Well, going from Terran to Zerg, I guess the biggest test of Zerg is how good your Mutalist micro is. We saw even a seasoned Zerg player like Julia really struggled in that regard. So let's see if kogeT can get that done, or if he's just going to go do something a little bit more unorthodox.
I mean, kogeT's go-to build in TVZ is 2-port raid. So I think it is safe to assume that his Muta micro is likewise going to be on point.
All right, there's a layer at the natural and a couple links being made. Danny, another depot at his wall just to make it very tight, very secure. There's one gap between the barracks and that depot, and the SCV is still alive, but it's pretty low on health.
Yeah. This is very early to be losing, very early on to be losing that SCV. You ideally want to keep it alive up to like 4:30, maybe 5 minutes in. But,
and Dandy actually going for +1 with the fast eBay and against 2 hatch. This is really risky. I can't remember the game we saw where Terran did this yesterday, but you are really vulnerable when you go for a +1 this fast against 2 hatch.
Yeah, probably. All right, we've got this third. Oh, that's it. That's a cheeky hatchery being planted by kogeT.
There's a +1 and still no spire.
There's also interesting placement there as he went for that bottom right as opposed to the top left, which if you're going for a ninja expansion, that one feels a little bit more standard, I guess, but maybe that's why he's gone for the bottom right. Who knows?
I think bottom right is common in this matchup because it's farther away from your natural, and it's harder for Terrans to pressure both your natural and your third. Whereas if you take the normal third...
No, I mean top left, as in the top left-hand corner. Like all the way there.
Okay, I got it. Well, Danny going up to 3 barracks. Well, look at his marine count. It's going to be very low. His stim and range upgrades are going to be quite delayed. And kogeT should have a window here to get something done with his mutas.
Yeah, definitely. The question is how much is he going to commit to this, right? Because he went for this third hatchery. So is he actually looking to play a standard muta style, or maybe is he going to try and utilize the fact that he's got more production capabilities now? He's going for another hatchery in the main base, just to better sell this as being a standard standard Oh, he didn't actually see it. It felt like he was trying to actually show it to his opponent.
And here are the 5 barracks from Danny's stim about to be done, but again, range is going to take a very long time, and that's when kogeT can get the most damage done with his mutalist. But because he actually made 4 hatcheries, he can't make all his mutas here at once. And I wonder if he's actually going to get gas carapace with this spire as well.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. We've got that Hydra Dynamic going up as well in the main base, going for lurkers.
Oh, this is a fake spire. This is a fake spire from kogeT.
Yeah, this guy has a massive brain. He's got such a wrinkly brain. He really knows how to come up with these inventive strategies.
Right, reveal the muta so Danny sees it, but not reveal how much mutas you actually have. Oh, it looks like he's just gonna scout with it. Now this could be, I mean, if Danny is a smart player, he sees 1 muta. This could be a fake as well, because kogeT could have a ton of mutas behind this, and it's just mind gaming. But looks like no, it's actually just going to be lurkers. Dandy sensing an opportunity here to get some map presence because he is up against lurkers. I mean, kogeT is going to need these 3 sunkens pretty quickly. Dandy can sim across the map and get there really fast. 3 sunkens probably not going to be enough. So, I mean, he's already here. This is scary. This is actually very scary for kogeT, but Dandy is not committing.
Well, he's looking for expansions, and he's just scanned the 12 o'clock and the top left, so he knows that this is probably the only last viable location to go for that expansion. But we do have a lurker morphing on the ram that is going to make it basically important. Oh, he actually runs past. The sunkens might not be enough, but yeah,
no, that is not enough.
Yeah, that is not enough Terran.
He does kill a lot of drones there though, so maybe that's a worthwhile trade. But the hive is already on the way. Such a fast hive, and the factory only just completed. And now we have these 5 barracks, but Dandy isn't going to be making any more Marines. No reason to. They can't really accomplish much.
So kogeT no longer actually has to worry about doing anything. Like, he's secured on 3 bases, and that is basically what you need as Zerg to survive in this matchup. So the only worry is going to be taking a 4th. But then again, he's going to have the right tools because he has 3 gases. He's already getting that hive, that super quick hive you mentioned. And he's just opening up more and more tech pathways to propel himself to a very strong late game.
I mean, other than the drone pool that he didn't need, I think kogeT's playing quite well.
See, this is why I don't necessarily understand Terrans choosing this map in TVZ, because first of all, you've got gases everywhere, and the bases are so difficult to assault because the ramps are so narrow, and there's basically high ground everywhere.
It looks like Dandy's gonna keep teching up. I mean, there's not that many drones at this third, so it's gonna need a Nidus to get something done. Looks like that was gonna be a Nidus being made there, and there's that Muta just re-scouting, sees double starport and sees the science facility. What are Dandy's upgrades going to be like? Can he get +2 started as Zerg +1 gets on the way? Because this is going to be ultras from kogeT right away.
Yeah, going for those space cows behind. So what is the winning condition here for Dandy, do you think? Because I think we can agree on the fact that kogeT has a slight lead. He's sitting in a very comfortable position, and the ball is basically in Dandy's court. He needs to do something to actually win this game. Otherwise, kogeT is slowly but surely going to run away with Eclipse.
Dandy doesn't really need to do much because he's in a position where kogeT has no units, so Dandy can just expand. He has complete map control. Just keep his upgrades going. Keep expanding, keep making units, and he's actually going to go for double dropship, and this could be a game-ending move because kogeT has no units. Like, it's going to be very hard for him to deal with this drop. It's all about the angle that Dandy comes in from.
All right, so we've determined the win condition here for Dandy. He's looking for a good angle to approach with these 2 dropships. I think one is headed towards the natural, one is headed towards the third as well at the very same time. Yep, that is going to be the case. Unloading in the natural, but there's sufficient lurker coverage there. Although, well, maybe not quite. Can we take a look at the third base? Another
a lot of drones. A lot of drones already have gone down.
Right, that is a lot of damage. 30 drones to 49 SCVs on the side of the Terran. Now, unfortunately, this one dropship is going to get sniped, and this one likewise. Now being targeted by the Scourge with the unit still inside.
Okay, so not too much damage, but he did lose like 10 drones. That is a heavy investment to go early dropship though, because now your vessels are delayed and your radiate energy is very important. He's getting +2 weapons already, which is good, but his armor isn't on the way. He does have enough minerals for that though. So that should be starting anytime soon. And what's really key here is the upgrades. Ultralists are so good if they're on even upgrades with Marines. So he has to be very, very careful not to miss any upgrades. Dandy.
Yeah, but his macro engine is slowly but surely kicking in. He's got that third going. He's got like 7 barracks. That is already a lot of bio to be having as the Terran.
All right, +3 already done. So, I mean, they're on even upgrades until Dandy's +2 kicks in. Looks like, Vessel's going to go down. That's actually pretty big.
Yeah. Oh, he's going to get 1 radiate off on something, I would reckon. Oh, nicely positioning those overlords over the lurkers to make it impossible to target those with radiates.
Well, I mean, this is going to come down to the big engagement once. I mean, kogeT's not really looking to attack. Maybe Dandy will here. Oh, looks like another raid. Oh, looks like the Scourge AI is so dumb.
Yeah.
Well,
but that would have been a massive pickup. Like every single science vessel here, really massive, really counts. Gonna try and fish for that once again. Dandy moving in. Only 3 sunk into the natural. The space cows are now coming out. The Ultralisk is jumping on top of the bio. Needs to be careful because that is a lot of Zerg.
That's a lot of bio though, and I mean that is so many Marines, and I think +2 just kicked in, so Danny could bust here. There's lurkers under these overlords. That's the only thing that's keeping Dandy back.
Wow, this didn't go as well as I expected for kogeT. I mean, this was a terrible engagement. He's just lost his entire army, and that is going to be it, basically, on the cliffs. There's nothing to hold off the onslaught of Terran in the natural. He's now getting on top of the hive. There's 1, 2 Ultralisk remaining, but this bio is just too well upgraded for the Zerg to stand a chance. Although he is still trying, more and more lings coming in from the main base. The Ultralisk is bugging out on the medics, getting in the way. And yeah, I think kogeT is down and out here in game number 2, so probably have a series on our hands.
Yeah, just coming in from one angle, couldn't get this round, and that +2 hitting just before that attack was Dandy's trigger, and he just had too much bio there.
Yeah, that's not how I expected this series to go, if I'm honest. That was a really good setup from kogeT with that ninja expansion and then the fake spire, but I thought he would actually follow this up with a slightly more standard lurker defiler style. But then again, it doesn't make as much sense if you don't have those mutalisks to keep the Zerg back. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how kogeT adjusts his play in game number 3. Again, we do have a series on our hands, and the winner of this last map of this best of 3 is going to secure a ticket to Vladivostok to duke it out for the grand total of $10,000 plus, of course, your donations. Because again, if apparently if we match the $10,000 prize purse with another $10,000 in donations, we are going to have another RCG tournament next year. Hopefully fully online. Don't know about you, but I've been fully vaxxed already. Didn't grow a 3rd arm just yet, but Bill Gates keeps calling me to sell me another copy of Windows. Keep telling him I've already got one.
All right, so kogeT's pick for the map. What do you think?
Thanks for just ignoring everything I just said. This is going to be a probably fighting spirit, I reckon. kogeT feels very comfortable on this map, if I recall correctly. At least as Terran. So I'm not sure how his Zerg fares on this map, but I would expect this to be probably fighting spirit.
All right, looks like we're ready to go into game number 3, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be Silphid. Oh. So we're both wrong here, and we are on Talcross, and in the top right we have kogeT as the red Zerg.
Oh yeah. There you go, Talcross, and his opponent spawning as the blue Terran, the 5-ish clock. He is Dandy, hailing from Peru, and I think playing for Seoul. Oh, yeah, he's
and now
Seoul tag.
After game 2, I think Dandy's gonna feel comfortable, and he should just play standard again, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, he hasn't shown anything. Oh no, wait, yeah, Blue Storm. He did try something funky, but I would reckon he's going to go for a very standard bio opening into SK Terran.
And here we go with kogeT. Is he gonna do something? What is he thinking about on Tau Cross? The naturals are wide open, maybe a link bust, or is he really gonna play standard again? I did like his opening in game 2 quite a bit, and the way he pivoted was pretty smart. Although the 4th hatch was a little bit weird because he then couldn't afford to use all his larva. But we'll see. We'll see what his plan is here.
So what do you think kogeT went for Tau Cross? What do you think the motivation behind this choice was?
I really don't know. I don't really see what strengths Zergs have in the early game other than the natural being very open.
Zero contributes with lurker drops, and that's definitely something I'd love to see because we haven't. And again, variety is the spice of life. So maybe it's time for kogeT to pull out something as cheeky as that. What do you think? Do you think lurker drops make sense here? Because obviously the mains are really exposed here, especially the one that Dandy spawned in.
Yeah, wide open mains, plus the naturals have these ledges that you can kill the gas off pretty easily with lurkers. And don't have to go mutas if you're going lurkers, which I think kogeT really wants to avoid doing. Haven't seen him really show any inclination towards the mutalist micro quite yet. Danny gets that full scout, sees as a 12 hatch, gonna go plop down that command center right away. And kogeT going for 2 hatch yet again.
Alright, we'll have to wait and see how this pans out then. We'll need to wait for kogeT to make his first tech-based choice. Do you think some kind of a link flood is maybe on the table here, or is Dandy's game sense too high level for that to be a possibility?
Yeah, it really comes down to how long you can keep the SCV alive, though.
Because he did lose the first one very quickly on Eclipse, and then sent out another one, which is obviously the right thing to do. As soon as you lose track, lose vision of your opponent's base, you probably want to send that extra SCV out to confirm whether there's more lings or drones being built.
All right, so Danny's doing something weird. He only has a 1 marine, already went gas. This kind of looks like what who was it? Was it Casper, where he went to mech after a 1 racks expand, but he just died to a link flood.
Oh yeah. That's exactly what happened yesterday against Shiki, I think.
Yep. There's that second SCV being sent out. That's clicking on mineral patch, and is kogeT gonna make more links now? That's the key here. It looks like no, he's actually only making 1. Okay, 2 sets of links more. Okay, he's actually making a lot more links.
All right, so this is the link flood we were talking about, but it is crucial. He denies vision. He denies this scout. Oh, getting very close, but that SCV slips past. I think he saw 2 extra links in the natural. He's gonna see 2 more in the main base, and now he knows the jig is up. The cat is out of the bag. There's a link flood on the way. And we immediately see a bunker going down in the natural. Probably more defensive structures also going to get planted down. Meanwhile, a Spire follow-up in the natural for kogeT.
Yeah, he's gonna need a depot to wall off and probably an SCV pool. There's the depot.
Yep.
Still making Marines. He has a factory. It's probably gonna make a Vulture right away, but look how many links kogeT is committing.
It's a very weird build for Dandy. 1 barracks, expo into gas, into factory. That's, well, not the right way to go about it. I wouldn't say. Well, I don't want to say the right way, but definitely a little bit unorthodox for the Terran player. Banking up quite a lot of gas. What kind of a follow-up? All right, another starport. So
no armory, so I don't think it's gonna be Valkyrie. And here comes the attempt, and looks like run by is probably the best bet here. And is kogeT even gonna get in with enough links? Looks like no.
Yeah, it was too indecisive. You could see that he juked right and left, couldn't make up his mind whether he wanted to go in or go for the bunker. And I mean, it cost him his entire attack. He's only got like 4 lings remaining to manage to make it into the main base. So at least he's going to get a good scout.
But that was a lot of lings, and it is going to be Valkyrie. And I mean, the mutas are in production already. There's a Vulture out, so he's probably going to need a sunken, so he doesn't have to worry about this Vulture harassing him in the meantime. But if he just sends the 6 mutas to kogeT's to Dandy's base, Dandy doesn't have any anti-air. He only has a handful of Marines.
Yeah, that's a really late armory. I don't think. Oh, yeah, he started a control tower, so at least he's got that going for him. But the armory is still a ways away. The eBay hasn't been finished, and the mutas are halfway across the map. The first turrets have been started, but how much damage can kogeT actually find here before those finish? Well, no, he's going to get sniped. Another one falls. Now the SCVs are going to get targeted, but now Dandy is going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about this vulture heading across the map as well. The sunken isn't there, and there's nothing back at home either. It's like kogeT just targeting a turret here. Danny's going to be focusing a lot on defending his own base. He's not going to really look at this vulture, so kogeT has... Okay, it looks like this vulture is actually very low from the links initially, so this could be... I mean, this could do so much damage. This is so much damage that's unnecessarily going to be done to kogeT here. I feel like kogeT is slowly losing control of this position because the vulture is dealt with, and he still has the mutas in the base. Valkyrie might not even get out. He's gonna have to repair this starport.
Yeah, definitely needs to get on top of that. Now pushing with turrets, trying to get them closer to the starport to maybe save this Valkyrie.
You know what would be amazing here? A link flood from kogeT.
Oh, definitely, yeah. But I mean, this Valkyrie, this is the key to defending this Muta flock. Alright, he's going to save that, but the turret is going to get focused down. Loses one Mutalist, if I'm not mistaken. A couple more SCVs getting plucked out.
There's a Scourge. I mean, Larva not being used. kogeT is supply blocked here. If 12 links came into the main, I think that would be GG. This is so close. But, I mean, the longer this goes on, the better it is for Dandy. I think he just has a superior economic position.
Yeah, neither player is going to give up on this game easily. This is the last map to decide a game, to figure out who's going to go to Russia. Another Valkyrie about to pop out of that starport. So, I mean, he's got sufficient anti-air if he can correctly micro those Valkyries, which is really difficult to do. And,
Alright, so he just killed the barracks. What does kogeT actually do for me? Looks like he's gonna go for the Valkyries. Gets both. How many mutals left over? 5, 4. But they're very bruised here. Looks like the link flood is coming, but Danny's actually prepared for that. I saw SCVs being pulled. Like, he realizes a threat here.
Yeah, he's anticipating some kind of a link flood. More and more Zerg trickling across the map, but Dandy seems ready, and it doesn't seem like those mutas are going to be able to find any more damage either in the main base nor the natural of the Terran player. Now the Valkyrie pops out of the starport. Dandy needs to remake those barracks, and maybe it's time to cut your losses as kogeT and just go back, remake work as well. He's going to dive on top of the bunker, focusing down the SCVs, making it a bit more possible for the links to wrap around the bunker. It's getting focused down. This is really getting down to the wire. And I just don't see this for kogeT, although he does manage to get 3 links into the main base of our Terran player. Remember, there is no barracks. It's only just now been rebuilt. Needs to land that factory and get a single vulture maybe out to try and hold off against this. But are there more units coming across the map for for kogeT, for our Zerg? That is the question. Yes, indeed. More and more links trickling across the map to try and close this game out.
I'm surprised these links took so long to make. They should have already been at this natural. I think kogeT missed a big window there. Can he get this Marine before it gets in the bunker? That would actually be huge. He really needs to have this link flood become a snowballing effect where he can just keep the pressure on before Dandy can get secure, because economically kogeT is completely all in here. He needs to go for the kill. Looks like the Marines are going to get in the bunker, and just 2 Marines in the bunker are going to be enough.
Ooh. But can he slip through? It doesn't look like it, although a few of the SCVs do get picked off. 2 more links make it into the main base of the Terran player. And I mean, slowly but surely, he is kogeT is chipping away at the economy of Dandy. 17 runs to 26 SCVs. That is definitely not looking as good as it was a couple of minutes ago. And we have more and more links trickling across the map. Is he going to commit? 4 more mutalisks still remaining. Good scans coming out from Dandy to try and confirm whether, well, basically confirm the economic situation for our Zerg.
Yeah, but I think Dandy is fine here. kogeT really committed, and he's gonna have a tough time holding off the bio follow-up. I mean, it's looking grim for kogeT, but there's still an opportunity here because Dandy has very low actual units on the ground, so he's gonna have some time if he decides to drone up. But the Mutalisks, look how much damage they're taking from the Valkyries. Can they even escape here? It's like one Mutalisk go down. Not terrible, but I mean, what is his plan here? I saw he made a Danny. He does have a third hatch on the way. He's finally making some drones, but he's only on 19 recently. And no third gas in sight.
Yeah, I mean, kogeT is going to struggle to actually stabilize here. Taking that 3 o'clock base, maybe a little bit unorthodox. You probably want to go for something closer to the 12 o'clock. Manages to get one of the Valkyries, but at this point, it is a little bit inconsequential. 4 Mutalisks remain for our Zerg player. The Scourge looking for a connection, and they're gonna get it. So another Valkyrie bites the dust.
Yep, surprisingly bad are Valkyries against Scourge.
Yeah, they're really difficult to actually control. And the last one does manage to survive, even though one of the Scourge did connect. And I mean, kogeT is he's getting a couple more drones. He's got his Hydra Den. Another scan comes down in the natural. Does he have Lurker tech just yet? Or I don't think so. Okay. So we're still stuck on this Ling Muta composition.
All right, and there's a biomass being built up. And again, this is going to be very hard for kogeT to hold this off. Once Dandy does decide to move out. He's making up a nice Mutalisk flock. They do already have +1 carapace, but as long as Dandy keeps making bio and supports it with either vessels or Valkyries, these Mutas will become less and less effective as this game goes on.
Yeah. I mean, what tools does kogeT actually have to hold off this incoming push from Terran? Because like pure Mutaling, probably not the best choice to deal with it.
Can work because he's going to have upgrades and Dandies are delayed. But again, it doesn't really scale. It can deny the first push, but then any subsequent push will be a lot harder to contest with. And we saw Dandy is taking up behind us, and he is like, there's the first vessel. He's going to have more upgrades. Is he going to get lurkers? He has quite a large number of he has a lot of gas here. He actually has +2 carapace, but I don't think he has enough right now. He needs another control group of links, and he can actually bust whatever this is at the side. Looks like he's coming in. Mutas are going to dive on the Marines, and looks like he is able to kill off the vessel and a group of Marines here, but he's not microing. But the links underground are actually doing a ton of damage to the Marine ball, and looks like he's able to clean this up, but he did trade a lot of Mutalisks for this.
kogeT is ahead in the supply, 57 to 55. This was a beautiful attack for kogeT. He not only managed to stop this attack before it even began, he also killed that one science vessel that was also important. And he's now on 3 bases. He's got a Hydra Den. I'm assuming he's going for lurkers. He's, about 1/3 of the way there. I mean, kogeT is stabilizing. 30 workers to 45. He's now picking off stray Marines every now and then wherever he can, and I mean he's bought himself plenty of time to go up to those lurkers, fighting around this push.
All right, and he's getting some more damage done. This is very nice. He's finding an opportunity to get damage done much later than is normal, but I mean, Danny just has to not move out. He's gotta wait. These Mutas now have +2 carapace, so they're gonna be very, very good against both Valkyries and Marines. Irradiate, of course, will ignore all the carapace. So as long as he gets 3-4 irradiates out, it's gonna be hard for kogeT to continue to make Mutalisks.
Yeah, but for Terran, like a lot of Terran relies on having the momentum, having the initiative. And I mean, it's been 15 minutes and 30 seconds, and this is basically the first time that Dandy is actually going to mount an attack. I remember the first one got denied. It got jumped on by the Mutas, by the Lynx, and this is not the ideal situation for Terran. You want to have that initiative, especially in this matchup. And look how many lurkers, look how many Lynx await this attack.
I mean, he can definitely kill these bio group and this vessel. It's gonna come down to control. This is so scary. Like, you're playing with fire, and it looks like the mutas are being targeted. The bio is actually retreating well enough across these bridges so that the lurkers can't burrow in range. It's like the muta clumping up. This is why it's difficult to go mutaless against what Dandy is making, and not a very clean engagement at all by kogeT, but
it looked really good at the start for kogeT, but then those irradiates just shredded through the mutas. And
yeah, and the lurkers didn't burrow.
Yeah, now he feels it necessary to actually move out across the map to try and catch these reinforcements for the Terran. And he's actually doing a decent job, but again, he doesn't have those mutas to maybe try and clean up the remaining units here.
Yeah, and no upgrades on the ground army. All the upgrades are on the Spire units, and the Marines already have +2 weapons, so Dandy is going to be trading pretty well against Lurker Ling, and there's no hive at all. So it's going to be tough for kogeT to keep engaging in the open like this. He's going to be limited.
All right, so what exactly does kogeT need to do for this game to actually stabilize in his favor? Because he's got access to 3 gases. He could probably start thinking about going into Defilers, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't have the tech for it. He's still on lair. And
oh yeah, there's no Queen's Nest, nothing. Oh wow, that is terrible. Yeah, the lurker's getting collapsed upon by the bio.
Yeah, and this is what upgraded Marine look like, and with just Lurker Ling, it's going to be hard. If he had kept sniping the vessels, then there's opportunity for the mutas to get more damage done, but as it stands now, it's looking pretty bleak.
Well, he managed to pick off 2 science vessels, but yeah, those Marines really paying dividends there. I don't know how that happens, because my Marines just lie down and die whenever they see lurkers. This is a miraculous game here for Dandy, holding off all that aggression. Now needs to watch out for those 3 lurkers on the bridge. That's, I mean, he's got 2 science vessels. He sees them, so no problem there. No problem whatsoever.
No, so Dandy's not going to be able to kill kogeT right. Oh, that's a nice pick-off now. That gives kogeT a little bit more time. But again, Dandy's on 3 bases against 3. There's no hive. This is still not very good for kogeT.
But he keeps picking off those science vessels, and without them, even though the bio is really well upgraded, he's going to have trouble pushing into lurkers and then hopefully defilers relatively soon. We've got hive about halfway done. So yeah, for now, he really needs to worry about lurkers. kogeT, yeah, that is.
Dandy's not the one that needs to push forward here. It's actually kogeT. And actually, there's 2-1, so now these lurkers are going to be 3-shotting the Marines instead of 2. It's going to be a lot harder for kogeT to fight in the open field without defilers.
Yeah, that is a much more favorable unit interaction for Terran when those lurkers don't 2-shot your units.
Yeah, he's getting ready to push in. Just trying to find a good angle that he can attack the lurkers from. This is actually too many lurkers, I think, for Dandy to engage, but lurkers, again, are very clunky. You have to unburrow them. So by the time he gets close enough to kogeT, to Dandy, Dandy will just retreat after killing some lings, and this is kind of a standoff here.
Yeah, despite being a little bit sloppy with the science vessels, he's still managing to get good engagements. We've got a counter-attack from kogeT. He's going to pull the trigger, and it seems like Dandy doesn't feel comfortable enough actually attacking, so he's going to hightail it out of there to try and defend. We've got 2 dropships coming in towards the main base of our Terran player, but they were empty.
I would have liked to see him go for the Nat instead of the 3rd. I feel like there weren't that many Marines, maybe 3. And he could have gotten a ton of damage done. Here he's just slightly out of range of the middle line. He's going to get cleaned up now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's being annoying, but he's not finding any eco damage, which is precisely what he needs to be looking for at this stage of the game. And he just lost his entire lurker army, basically. So, I mean, he bought some time, but that's about it. Dandy still has a much better standing army. Now, we do have a counter-attack once again coming into the 3rd base. Bunker gets jumped on by the Lings. I don't know. This is looking rough for kogeT. He still hasn't gone for a fourth. Now, could we check whether he has defilers out just yet? There's a defiler mount going for consume. All right.
Right, so he still has a little bit more time, and +2 is going to finish. But again, the bio is going to be 3-2 pretty soon. And once that hits, the fact that kogeT doesn't have any attack upgrades are going to make his lings and lurkers that much weaker.
Yeah, but he knows what he needs to be doing, and that is buying time. kogeT just looking for those openings with the lings. Again, still no fourth base for our Zerg. Surprised to see that the dropships still haven't been utilized by Dandy. Perhaps he forgot about them. We saw that they were making their way back home just a minute ago, so hopefully he does end up using them to apply a little bit of pressure maybe in the main base of kogeT. We have a fourth base being built in the top left hand corner. Meanwhile, Dandy still sitting comfortably on 3 bases. The main has been mined out, but it's still a relatively healthy economy on 50 SCVs compared to the 30 drones of kogeT.
More vessels moving out, and another vessel gonna get sniped. That's probably what kogeT's best been at, sniping those vessels and Valkyries with his Scourge, and also in his previous match, sniping the Observers with the Scourge. Looks like Danny finding an opening here. Lurker is not burrowed, and I mean, these Marines are +3 weapons. You can see how quickly they tear through all the Zerg units. No swarm here. Everything just melting.
Rip and tear. But I have to agree that one of the main reasons that Dandy hasn't been able to do this exact thing was that he kept losing science vessels, and without science vessels you do struggle pushing into lurkers. But ultimately, you know, he's just too strong. It looks like Dandy is going to secure that first place finish in Group D, and we will be seeing him in the top 8 of the tournament, the offline portion, in about a month and a half. As kogeT is slowly but surely running out of options. 46 supply to 140 for the Terran. And we're basically just waiting for him to tap out.
Alright, looks like the counterattack is getting some ground, and he did snipe the dropship, but he lost all his drones out of third, lost the hatcheries. His production is very low. He does have top left going up, but Danny has his fresh new base. And he still has this massive army outside of his natural.
Yeah. I think Dandy preemptively making those firebats, knowing that they're basically the only unit that can hit Zerg under Dark Swarm. Oh, finally getting caught here. You don't want to have that happen, but yeah, this is a little too late for kogeT to be mindful of his units. He does have that top left-hand corner, but, I mean, pretty inconsequential at this point. Dandy going for a fourth base, and kogeT GG's. So there you have it. We have our first place finisher of Group D. Dandy, congratulations to our Peruvian player. He is going to be going to Vladivostok.
kogeT was this close to getting into the round of 8. Wait, this close. If he had lings earlier, after he busted that bunker, he would have been in the round of 8. But I mean, still strong showing with his Zerg, and now we're gonna see who he goes up against. Well, the winner of Julia against Gosudark.
Yes, indeed. We have 2 more series coming up: the losers match, or the elimination match, and then the decider, where kogeT is going to be facing off against the winner of the upcoming match, GhostDark versus Julia. Hopefully going to get that loaded up in just a minute. It is going to be a PVZ, so another one of these coming up for your viewing pleasure. So who do you think makes it out?
I'm gonna go with Gosudark, but Julia plays an unorthodox style of ZVP as well.
I mean, who
makes second place?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Still
I mean, I don't know. I think kogeT, but I'm wondering if kogeT, for example, goes up against Julia and he loses game 1 in a ZVZ, does he just switch to Terran?
I'm not sure that's allowed. I think you have to stick to one race in one best of 3. You can switch between series, but not within a given series.
Okay, so he's gonna rely on his Zerg skill to power him through this group, and I think I'm gonna say Gosudark is actually gonna get out.
All right. Well, I'm sticking with kogeT. That was the prediction I made at the start, I think. So, do we actually know what the first map is going to be? GhostDark versus Julia? I think we do. It's going to be Neo Silvered. All right.
All right, let's go into that game. Gosudark against Julia. I mean, I don't even know what to expect.
Do we expect any GGs at the end?
No.
No. Okay.
No, of course not.
All right. Throwing some shade. Yes, we are ready to jump into game number 1. GhostDark versus Julia. Winner goes on to face off against kogeT. Loser goes home.
All right, in the 12 o'clock spawn, we have Julia as the blue Zerg.
And his opponent in the bottom right, hailing from Peru, the red Protoss Gosudark.
Right, I'm really hoping, let's see something a little bit more. Okay, no, it's just gonna be Forge. So it looks like Gosudark has switched his PvZ style to more standard. Still playing aggressively with the fast reload timing, but not going for the crazy one base plays.
Yeah. I think every single PvC that we've seen this tournament so far was a Forge Fast Expand.
Yeah, I haven't seen any one gate. DeWalt always went Forge, and Bonif and Oya both played PvT, so no chance for them to show anything. And
we also had Boa versus Grinich, but that was also Forge Fast Expand all the way, basically. All right, so we've got a bit of a lucky scout here for GhostDark. Manages to find his opponent on his first try. Meanwhile, the Overlord of Julia going in the wrong direction.
yeah, it's an overpull and gonna be a Forge, then Nexus from Gosudark. Very standard so far.
Very standard indeed. I feel like PvZ is the matchup with the least variation in builds and basically what it looks like. Like the first 6-7 minutes is pretty much always the same.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends if Zerg goes for Hydras or not. Usually it's Hydras or Lair, and looks like...
Even still, like from the Protoss perspective, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, you're really rushing your tech tree up, and I'd say Julia's actually gonna make 6 slings. As long as Gosudark sees this, he'll be able to make that second cannon right away. Right there, he sees the lings. Is he paying attention? He will need that second cannon right away. Yep, there it is. Oh, there's a potential for a run by because I think only one cannon, another gas steal from Julia, which is pretty funny. I think he does this no matter what the matchup is or the scenario or the openings are. He just seems to do it, and he can run by here. It's only going to be the one cannon. There's no block from Gosudark quite yet. Gateway not there though. Okay, now it's just basically impossible.
Does the gas steal actually make sense in this matchup? Or...
No.
Okay.
It only makes sense if you're going to follow us up with a Ling all-in, because then the Zealot will have to be committed to kill the gas, because Protoss does want their second gas pretty quick in this matchup. But unless you follow up with a Ling flood, it really doesn't make sense. It looks like Gosudark is going to make a cannon. I mean, I don't know about that, because you can just take the one at the natural and then kill it with a Zealot.
I mean, maybe it's not the best min-maxing approach, but the cannon might come in handy later on if he's making the assumption that his opponent will play Mutalisk. Oh, the drone. No, not managing to catch that probe. That is minimal walking.
But this is a heavy investment, though, in cannons. 3 cannons being made. But, of course, Julia did make 6 lings and lost a drone to get that extractor gas steal.
Oh yeah, that is correct.
All right, third at a slightly farther base, but is behind a ramp, and it's going to be full minerals and gas. Gosudark making a Zealot. everything looking standard. Is this going to be a Citadel or a Stargate? Is the only question. And Julia did go for Lair.
I mean, I think it's safe to assume that he's going to go for that Corsair, although he is getting plenty of scouting done with this probe. I mean, it's 4 minutes, 50 seconds into the game, and it still hasn't been picked off. We have another gateway going up in the natural, relatively standard, although it is pretty quick, though, isn't it?
Yeah, this is kind of what he did against kogeT. So it's going to be Sayers with a fast speed lock timing, but they're not going to have +1, so they're not going to be very strong against Zerglings. You can still catch some Zergs off guard because it hits faster than expected, but just with good SimCity and the appropriate Ling number, you can defend.
All right, we've got a spy coming up in the main base of Julia. The third base has finished. The question is, what is he going to go for? Is this just going to be a few Scourge, or maybe our Mutalisks here on the menu, on the cards? Have to wait and see. Yeah, it's really weird to see this Forge not spinning. You pretty much always get that +1 attack, and like, even if you're not going for some kind of a timing attack, it does propel you later forward to a stronger mid game, because upgrades really do come in handy later on.
All right, that's our first Corsair, and Julia's fire timing is actually a little bit late, so you might lose 2 Overlords to the Sayers, and it's going up for standard 5-hatch follow-up. kogeT against this made Mutalisk, and he did pretty good against just defending it. So it looks like what Gosudark's plan is to go Spila and then Archon timing, maybe. But again, without +1, it just doesn't seem that strong. Although the timing will actually hit pretty soon, and we don't see anything. There's the Hydrogen only now being started by Julia. And here's the first move out with the Zealots. Still slow, of course, and Gosudark. There's one Overlord being killed. Scourge are in production. And I mean, here we go. This is can't underestimate the number of Zealots this is. One sunken is not going to be enough.
So where do you think this is going to be headed? The third base? Not
Usually a third, because there's only one hatchery there.
Yeah,
compared to the one reinforcing from the main and natural. But again, Zerglings with good SimCity, you can hold this off pretty easily.
All right, all comes down to Micro. Who's going to come out on top here? Please let's get into one of these sunken for more wrapping around. Where are the Corsairs? They're probably looking for some damage elsewhere. But in the meantime, well, I mean, he's not doing too shabby. How many drones has he lost? He's down to 25 against the 32 probes of his opponent. And all in all, it seems like a relatively successful attack for GhostDark.
Yeah, and this is 3 gas from Julia, so very heavy investment into gas. This is going to indicate mutas, and Gosudark should be well aware of this. Now, what he did against kogeT is he followed this up with a very quick Archon timing, and kogeT just barely held with the Hydra transition. And looks like he's going to do something similar against Julia here.
Getting a lot of Corsairs there in the natural, banking them up. So is Julia actually behind here?
No, not at all. He lost drones, but he held off the attack. Now the real threat is the following attack, when he actually has Archons. But I mean, Julia's mining a ton of gas. He's building up a large Mutalisk flock.
Yeah, he's now headed across the map towards the natural of the opponent. There's a few Scourge supporting the attack, but plenty of Corsairs waiting, lying in wait. And
again, no +1 from the ground or air for Gosudark. So just, I mean, it's a weird build, but
these mutants are going to get absolutely slapped by the Corsairs. Yeah, you're going to have to retreat. The Archon and the Zealots are also headed across the map towards the third. Now going to get a free Overlord if he turns around, if he chooses to turn around, of course, but still in hot pursuit of the Mutalisks. And is this sufficient defense? I think it might be. There's only 3 Zealots and 1 Archon in this attack.
Yeah, and again, no +1.
A bit late there.
And Gosudark isn't making a ton of probes behind this. He's only at 33. Normally, in around 7 minutes, Protoss can be at 45 probes. Pretty comfortably. Normally against a Zerg that's this turtly, you can get away with just taking a third right here, but because his probe count is so low, there really wouldn't be that much of a benefit to doing so.
Well, definitely needs to be careful because those Hydras are going to shred through the Corsairs. One gets picked off, but now he turns around on the Mutalisk. Yeah, he's implementing a very aggressive approach to this matchup, GhostDark is. But I don't think that if Julia stabilizes, he's going to have any trouble winning this game, simply on the grounds that GhostDark, as you mentioned, wasn't going for any upgrades. Doesn't have +1 attack on his ground units, doesn't have +1 attack on his air units, and that means his +1, +2, those upgrades just simply aren't going to be there.
Yeah, and going for a lurker is the correct play here. It's just going to make it impossible for Gosudark to gain any ground, and Julia's already on 3 bases, saturating them pretty well. Double evolution chamber, and Gosudark, I mean, what is he trying to do here? Like, once he sees lurkers, what's his plan? Is it just to take a third? Does he have a robo anywhere in sight? Looks like Julia actually even wanted to take a 4th there.
He does have a few High Templar with his army, so I'm assuming he does have access to Storm. And there's a good chance he has sufficient Storms to actually break through the lurkers. There's only like 1 or 2 in the natural. And, I mean, well, needs to be careful because right now he's taking a lot of damage. Wow, those Corsairs. He's getting shredded by the Scourge. He's down to 1. And he needs to hightail it out of there. That was a terrible engagement for GhostDark, not gonna lie.
Yeah, not what you want to see. Robo being only halfway done when lurkers are already out. It's gonna take a 3rd here, and I mean, his upgrades are gonna be really bad. If Julia just goes Hive even off 3 bases, he's gonna have well upgraded cracklings against poorly upgraded zealots, and I'm liking Julia's position a lot here.
Yeah, it's looking better and better for our Polish player. GhostDark not really managing to find the chink in the armor that he so desperately needs. Alright, I've got Dragoon range on the way, so probably going to see some of those units also added to the composition of the Protoss. Well, I mean, Julia isn't that far ahead in terms of upgrades either. He's only just now getting +1 armor, that is halfway done. So maybe the fact that GhostDark didn't go for any upgrades of his own isn't going to come back to bite him in the bud as severely as I thought it might. Now we've got a massive attack with these Mutalisks headed into the main base. If you Scourge to support, only 2 cannons to defend. And remember, he lost all his Corsairs save for 1 in that attack. So this is actually doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, the carapace is... Oh, gotta be careful with the storms. I didn't even see that High Templar. Gonna pick off High Templars here and there. The drones, the probes is down to... Wait, how did that not die? Did you see that? Careful with the egg. Careful with the egg. Can't group select.
Yeah, but this is so much damage already dealt with these Mutalisks, finding 2 cannons, like 2 or 3 High Templar, also killing a bunch of probes and forcing them off of the mineral line. Meanwhile, Julia is going for a 4th base of his own. He's really quite far ahead, 112 supply to 102. And, I mean, you rarely see the Zerg actually ahead. Well, maybe not so much in this matchup, but it definitely goes to show that Julia is in a very comfortable spot. How many High Templar do we have left for our Protoss player? Oh, he's going to try and snipe them. He's going to try and snipe those High Templar. Gets 1, gets 2. I mean...
Gets a handful of probes here as well. And these mutas have paid off for themselves. And then some. And I mean, +2 mutas, very strong. But look at the ground army for Gosudark. It only has +1 weapons. It's almost 14 minutes now. And Julia is getting upgrades from 2 evolution chambers. So, I mean, even though Gosudark can stabilize here, these are going to be very well upgraded cracklings. Not even going to need Swarm to fight head on.
Yeah, 46 drones to 29 probes. The upgrades are in a terrible state here for Gosudark. As you said, I mean, even though these mutants aren't ending the game, he's just backing up behind this to a composition that Gosudark isn't going to be able to hold a candle to, basically. Yeah, managing to find those High Templar, the key unit to deal with, dealing with lurkers. Really good traits for Julia. So, do you think GhostDark could pull something off to still climb back into this game? Do you think there's something that can still pull out of the bag to maybe get back?
No, this is as hopeless as it gets. Being behind on upgrades and economy against Zerg is a death sentence for the Protoss. Like he's pure crackling crushes this army, and he's gonna have Guardians as well just to harass both the natural, the main, and now the third. Gosudark, who's already on a weakened economy. This is gonna be very, very tough for him to deal with. Although he does see one of the Guardians morph, he's at least gonna be able to kill that.
Yeah. Well, there's really no answer to the Guardians anymore, right? After losing those Corsairs, and you don't want to be remaking those units at this point in the game. 15 minutes, 30 seconds in, and it looks like GhostDark is going to, well, pull the trigger now upon those Guardians jumping into the main base. Yeah, but this
is 1 damage per shot. You can see that, like, it's tickling the Guardians. It's not really going to affect, and making Corsairs at a time when you're this poor already is, well, it's not very good.
That is tragic. I didn't know that they were actually dealing 1 damage per shot to Guardians with two armor. That is comical. But yeah, GhostDark, he needs to go. There's no coming back from this. This much damage is unrecoverable. 51 drones, 28 probes, and a massive advantage for Julia. Also really decent upgrades. Maybe he's going to have to wait for that +2 armor, but still. 2-1 the Lings, 2-1 Hydra's probably as well. Really scary stuff.
And Guardian's not attacking, they could kill so many probes before they die here. And is there a Guardian add to natural as well? Yep, there is. 7 kills on this one. I mean, everything falling apart here for Gosudark. So he's trying to go for an attack, and Plague is already done as well, so literally nothing he can do here.
Yeah, Julia is just too far ahead this game. He's got all the necessary spells, just consuming the Lings and casting Plague and Dark Swarm over and over again. I mean, GhostDark is just taking damage and not doing anything about it. So yeah, we're just probably waiting for him to tap out. It might seem like he's still got a chance, but this really isn't the situation you want to be finding yourself in as the Protoss. Now, how many Storms does he have? Maybe there's still a few good connections in the but nah. Morphs them into an Arc, and that means there weren't any Storms left. And this is going to be all she wrote. Julia even expanding to a 5th base on the left and a 6th, I think, at the 3 o'clock. There's a blue blob on the map. But yeah. Let's get game number 2 loaded up here. GhostDark taps out in game number 1. And he finds himself on the ropes. 1 more map loss, and he's out of the tournament.
Yeah, so Julia won pretty convincingly, just showing that that build Gosudark went for has some severe weaknesses to both Mutilas and just basic static defense SimCity. Like, he couldn't really accomplish much, even though he had a lot of zealots really fast.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes back to the fact that the first attack didn't do that much damage, right? Because then maybe there was a chance for a snowball effect, but the fact that he sacrificed his upgrades for that quick move out with the zealots, you know, maybe not the right way to go about this. But again, he's not down and out just yet. This is a best of 3. He still has 2 chances of climbing back into the series. Well, he needs to win the two games if he wishes to face up against kogeT once again. So let's get that game loaded up. Julia versus GhostDark, game number 2. The Zerg is currently in the lead.
All right, in the top right, we have Julia as the blue Zerg.
And his opponent in the bottom left as the red Protoss on the ropes. He is GhostDark.
All right, Gosudark. He's only gone for his build every single time, and it hasn't worked in a game yet. There's that probe going towards the natural. Nope. Or wait.
So, what do you think GhostDark can do differently here to actually stand a chance against Julia? What are we thinking?
I mean,
Maybe a
I don't
gateway
think
opening?
Julia did anything special, really. I think it was just GhostDark inflicted a lot of damage to himself by not getting upgrades and sacrificing a ton of economy, going for that timing, and then not doing much with it. So Julia just played standard for the most part and defended, and then he ended up way ahead.
So what does GhostDark do? Does he revert to a slightly more standard style where you get those upgrades and, you know, forego that weird attack? Or does he actually turn the weirdness up even further to go for some kind of cheeky special tactics-esque Sig's Gateway Zealot push?
He could definitely do something like that. Maybe if he feels comfortable with his build, but I think he really should optimize it. So that it has +1, even if it hits, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds later. The power spike Zealots get +1 is insane. And it looks like Julia here, gonna go for Overpool. And this is gonna be another Nexus Cannon opener from GhostDark. So far, everything looking the same.
Yeah, so we're in for like another 3-4 minutes of no action to PvZ. So, since there's nothing happening, I'm going to put you on the spot and hit you with a question. When are we going to see another Nation Wars tournament?
Not really sure. There's very limited amount of time, and Nation Wars is very hard to organize. You gotta coordinate a lot of matches, a lot of countries. So, on hiatus for now. No further update, really.
All right, then keep your secrets, Gandalf.
Right, everything the same. Julia even wants to insist on getting this gas deal. Look at him. Look at this drone. Just gonna go get that extractor, and now Julia can go and play his game.
So again, this doesn't really make any sense, right? In PvZ, stealing a gas.
I mean, it also doesn't make sense in TVZ, right? Because if you're going to Rex Academy, you're just gonna.
Well, yeah. But if you can get it earlier than that, then you're taking 1-1-1 off the table.
All right, there's the third hatch at the third base from Julia. GhostDark with the 2 cannons. Is he also gonna make another cannon in the main? Can we see a repeat of that?
Oh yeah, because he did do that to take care of the extractor. Well, it doesn't seem like it. Oh no, yeah.
Nope, there it is. So GhostDark thinking, everything I did last game so far up to this point was correct. So I will just repeat that. And looks like the probe is gonna be kept alive. He really wants to keep it alive to see the lair.
Wait, what do you mean I lost the first game? What are you talking about? Got the score wrong. Alright, we've got our third base going up as well for Julia. So very standard, and again, the Resident Sleeper opening. I mean, this is a PvP, right? There's not much there to talk about in the early game, if you're not like a PvZ aficionado.
Okay, so I think Julia just did a fake Hydra then, which GhostDark didn't see, and then he morphed the lair while GhostDark still had vision of after his probe died. So that did not seem to work. And here we go. We do see him using that cannon to kill that extractor. And what is this being made next to the Nexus?
To the right? I'm not sure. That's probably Stargate. No, that's a Stargate. So we'll never know. Yeah. So what do you think this is for Julia? Is this going to be another spy build? It certainly seems like it.
And from GhostDark, this looks to be very similar. I don't see the forge spinning and no +1.
Can we take a look at the forge? Yeah, not spinning, no +1.
There's a Stargate and Citadel, so it looks to be identical to the game 1 build. And I mean, it hasn't worked so far. If you can hit his timing cleaner, if you could get that Archon follow-up faster, maybe. And I mean, here we have Julia doing the same thing that worked for him in game 1. There's a Citadel second gate, everything looking identical. No +1 for air, no +1 for ground. Oh, there's a difference here from Julia. This might be okay, so what this is, it's Hydra to defend the Corsair. It's not 3-hatch Spire. This is something that's called Fake Spire, where you go 3-hatch layer, but you use Hydras instead of Scourge to defend the initial Corsairs. You still go up to 5-hatch with this, but because he got speed right away instead of delaying it, he's actually going to be a little bit short on resources. And
All right.
yeah, it looks like Gosudark actually mixing things up. He's not going to go for speed lock. Just going to rush straight into DT. He's going to see the Hydralisk Evolution Chamber 4th hatch and then 5th hatch. And he should realize what build this is. This is Inspire. It's a fake. And let's see how he transitions out of this.
Did he go for his second Corsair, by the way? Is there another one out in the... Yes, there is. Okay. So what do you think the right response for GhostDark is at the moment upon scouting this this Hydra opening for Julia?
He should stop making Corsairs and not expect an all-in, because this is a macro build from Julia. So he just play as standard, get his gateways up. Doesn't really need to commit a ton in terms of cannons, and really Julia can't pressure right away either. There's that 1DT. That 1DT will buy him a lot of time, and he can also use that to hit the 3rd. So Julia has to be on top of this.
I've got good news for you, and that is the Forge is spinning, which means he is thinking about the mid game. He is thinking about the late game. So do you think this build interaction creates any timing opportunities for Gosudark to exploit?
No, I mean, he did go for a fast Citadel, and now he has DTs out on the map, but because he made all these cannons, I think his gateway timings are just a little bit slow here.
All right, so hopefully we'll get a long one here. As it's 10 p.m. All right, we've been casting for like nearly 7 hours, 6.5 I think, and we've got another best of 3 coming up after that. Although it could be a ZVZ, we'll see. But yeah.
All right, we have a cannon being added, and these gateways just seem a little bit slow for Gosudark, but not terrible. His position here.
Well, he's definitely paying a lot more attention to very basic aspects of StarCraft, and aka upgrades, as that +1 is about to finish for Gosudark. Really hope he goes for +2 after that as well. Doesn't sleep on that upgrade.
Whoa! Okay, so while I was looking at Julia's drone count, it actually was looking very strong, but his drone saturation at the 3rd is very, very weak. He has way too many at his other 2 bases, it seems like, because there's only 3 on minerals here, and this is not optimal by any means.
Somebody never heard of Maynard, huh?
Right, and I mean, it's kind of funny because he's going drop, and I actually like this play, but Gosudark is already ready for that with the anti-extractor cannon in the main. And the Corsair scouting really wants to see if there's a Spire or not.
Yeah, we know that is not the case. The Queen's Nest on the way, so probably... Oh, sorry, there's a Spire at the 3rd. Never mind. Just about halfway done. Got a bit of a push here happening in the natural, but a bit of a preemptive storm, maybe just baiting it out.
Pretty fast lurkers from Julia. Of course, he did skip Spire, so all his Hydra upgrades are faster.
Yeah, so it looks like he's going to be setting up a lurker contain, just like kogeT did to Gosudark, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at all this idle larva from Julia. This wouldn't be happening if he had split his drones correctly across his 3 bases.
Yeah, he's got too many production structures at the moment, and the drones haven't been transferred to the 3rd. He's only got 4 on minerals there, which is a little bit rough here for a Polish player. Oh yeah, we've got a lurker drop coming into the main base of Gosudark. There's just 1 lurker, but you know.
Yeah, shouldn't get anything done. I think there are 2 cannons here.
What is he really looking for then? He might get the Forge and the Gateway in the natural, but that is to be expected in any PvZ basically. Oh, actually manages to find a sweet spot there outside the range of the cannons, so 2 of those mineral patches are going to get harassed by the lurker.
GhostDark smartly positioning his Corsairs behind the natural, expecting a follow-up drop there. And well, actually, Julia's in a comfortable position, but I don't like his lurkers being this far forward. He's exposing himself to what's likely going to be a big breakout from GhostDark, and then losing these units inefficiently is really not going to help him. And he's taking a fourth as well. There was a DT that scouted it, didn't attack the hatchery though. Looks like 4 zealots that were out on the map are able to deny it.
I think the problem for Julia here is that he doesn't have as big an eco lead as he probably thinks he does. Because yeah, even though he does have that third, as you said, it wasn't saturated properly, and that is going to translate into GhostDark basically having a lot more units, or at least having an even number of units to take on these Zerg force. Lurkers gets picked off. And yeah, what is the trigger? When does GhostDark start breaking out? What is he waiting for?
I think pretty soon. I think he's waiting for a second observer in case his first gets sniped. He should be poking forward, and this is like the perfect unit composition you want. You want mostly Dragoons, 6 High Templars, and then Zealots to reinforce. And I mean, he has a timing window here where he could get a ton of damage done. He could go straight for the natural. That's a much better target than the third. If Julia has a fourth, it's going to be pretty hard for him to defend. Upgrades are slightly in Julia's favor, but the unit composition for Gosudark is very strong here.
Yes, he did lose the fort in the natural without having actually remade one in the main. It's only just now started spinning away to get that +2 attack for the ground units. And it looks like he's going to slowly but surely start breaking out. A good storm coming down from some of the Hydras here for Gosudark. There's plenty more where that came from. This is a very narrow choke point. It's actually difficult to get those units out because, as you can see, they're bugging out. They're bumping into one another. But yeah, he is slowly but surely breaking out. 126 supply to 110 for the Zerg. And, well, I mean...
He's running out of storms.
Yeah.
Hasn't quite broken out quite as... Okay, it looks like he is going to break out, and now he's going to have a good target here at the natural. But again, very important upgrade is Carapace for the Lings. The Zealots won't be able to two-shot them, and if your army comp is mostly Dragoons with very little storms, you're going to have a really, really tough time. That being said, I mean, this is Gosudark's window here. If the longer this goes on, the worse it's going to be for him. He doesn't have upgrades.
Yeah,
I wonder if he will commit.
Similarly, he doesn't have any storm to actually break through this army. Look at this concave. Look at how well spread out these lurkers are, so that no two lurkers tank the same storm. He's got his 4th base, currently being harassed by a few zealots, but yeah, there is very little buffer for these dragoons, and they're taking a lot of damage from the Lings and the lurkers and the Hydras. But it looks like GhostDark might actually have sufficient units to try and break through. Julia responding to that harassment at the 4th base. A few Guardians being moved around the natural of our Protoss player. I'm not sure who's ahead here.
I mean, Gosudark has a much larger army, but if Julia holds, then he's way ahead. He just has to not die here, but I mean, he's got to engage properly at the same time from 2 angles, because now he's going to be caught. It looks like there's a couple of Guardians harassing as well. This is looking very scary for Julia, but if he holds, then he will win pretty decisively. He needs to produce out of all of his hatcheries. Looks like he's missed a couple macro hatcheries. The swarm comes down, but I think there's enough zealots here, just barely enough to deal with these Lings. Of course, it does neutralize all the Dragoons, and these Lings do have crack. They don't have +2 carapace, I don't think, and +2 just finished for the zealots. So they're going to be trading a little bit more efficiently against these Lings.
Yeah, but I can't see any lurkers remaining for Julia, which is basically the core unit you need to defend these kinds of pushes. Now, it might be a little bit too ambitious to try and break up this 3rd, but the 4th one, the 4th hatchery is definitely a valid target. Did he just storm like 3 of his own observers on the left?
No,
yeah, okay,
I
they
think
survived. Okay, never mind.
I think Gosudark threw away his advantage. He should have pressed on at the natural. But I think he got a little bit scared of that swarm. Again, Gosudark is very, very committed to this attack, even if he kills this base, which is likely now. I don't think he's going to be that far ahead.
Yeah, the problem is he still hasn't taken his own third pyramid, and slowly but surely he is going to run out of minerals. His main base, his natural, all slowly but surely running dry. I mean, it's been 16 minutes.
All right, more Zealots and Archons being morphed, and this is going to be good. Really don't think this is the base to attack, but he's committed. There's only Sunkens and a few Links, but here comes the flank. Does he have enough storms here?
Alright, we have one storm coming down, but he misses all of the crucial units that are the lurkers. And yeah, Gosudark is running out of units. I think Gosudark might be down and out. This is his last attempt at keeping his tournament run alive. 5 Dragoons, 1 Zealot, a High Temper and an Archon walk into a bar. And yeah, I don't see this. Well, he did manage to clear out the third.
Look at the bottom side of the map. We have a ton left.
Oh, yeah. Alright, I didn't see those hatcheries there. He's even got a Devourer to protect those Guardians. Yeah. This is rough. We are watching the death throes of our Protoss player, even though his supply is... Well, the supply tells a different story, 106 to 94. So maybe there's still a chance, but I'm not sure what he would need to do. So the first step was definitely clearing out the 9 o'clock, which he has successfully done. And he's going for another base. The problem is he's now going to have to contest these 2 bases in the bottom right. And does actually have the correct unit composition to do so. He's got a lot of Zealots, but that's about it. There is no complexity to his army. He doesn't have Storm, he doesn't have Dragoons, doesn't have any Archons, save for like 1 or 2. That might just be enough.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at the upgrades. 2 Carapace on the Lings, +1 melee attack. Julia taking bases all over the map. And Gosudark's third only going down now.
Yeah, definitely need to pay attention to the fact that GhostDark lost a lot of probes in that attack. To those Guardians, down to 24 workers against the 43 of Julia. And again, he has just secured 2 more bases in the bottom right that are being saturated, being set up with lurkers, set up with static D. That Guardian, wow, it took 3 storms, but finally he does fall. Nonetheless, now GhostDark learns about those bases in the bottom right, and look at
oh, the egg. The egg.
Oh, yeah. No.
Zero couldn't help himself.
I mean, do we actually have to jump back into that game?
Yeah, just to confirm the GG, I think. Or the lack of GG.
The lack of GG, yeah, that is a bit more accurate. I mean, there were so many units left over for Julia in the natural that I think it is safe to assume that GhostDark is not climbing his way back into this game on Eclipse. And we're likely going to have our very first ZVZ of the tournament. Although I don't want to call it too early, but all the signs are pointing towards this particular turn of events.
Yeah, and I think, man, it's going to be kogeT. And he's really going to bank his tournament life on if he can beat Julia in a ZVZ. Whereas in a TVZ, I think you would say, what did you think the odds of kogeT beating Julia in a best of 3 are if you were playing Terran? Like 90? 95
maybe, probably, something like that. Yeah, but I mean, there's still a chance he actually goes for Terran, because you don't have to stick to the same race between series. It's just inside one that you can't swap between map 1 and 2. So maybe he's actually chosen, or he will choose Terran if he were to go up against Julia. But yeah, definitely lowering his chances against Julia when he picks Zerg. Because again, it's a bit of a random matchup. I mean, obviously there's some complexity to it, and you do have certain players who actually know how to play it. But yeah.
I mean, large Archon clump, but he's not going to have the economy. And Julia's being very annoying with these Guardians, just forcing storms out, hurting the economy even further.
Not much to be said about this game anymore. Can we have a look at the upgrades for the Protoss? +2 attack, no armor. Meanwhile, the Zerg is likewise. +2 armor on attack, of the lings. Yeah, that's just too much Zerg. It's too much Zerg. He might kill this base to the south of his army, but not this one. It's too much. Look at how many units he's got.
No knight is here, so maybe if he can bust up the ramp quickly enough and then cut off the reinforcements with Storm, he can get something done. Drone's being pulled here. There's only one lurker. The Sunkens actually don't do that much damage, but the lurker spines, look how fast the zealots will melt. Lurker spines hitting all those zealots all at once. Archons holding off. What's looking? Actually, Julia's not even attacking with most of his rally. There we go. Finally having reaction. GhostDark really gonna force himself up this ramp. He might kill everything here, but then his army is just gonna die.
What was he waiting for with his army in the natural? Please, Julia, please. Well, okay, he gets a good counter attack at the 9 o'clock. This has to be it. Yep, there you have it. GhostDark taps out in game number 2 on Eclipse, and that means we are going to have that Polish derby for the last spot in the top 8 of the RCG between Julia and kogeT. And we're just about to find out if kogeT actually chose Zerg for this particular matchup as well.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on these two players? Do they have any kind of history?
kogeT against Julia, yes, they do have extensive history of Julia calling kogeT a map hacker and cheater, just like everyone else. So, I mean, I don't know what you were expecting there, mate. Seriously. But yeah, again, just as we said, if kogeT were to play Terran, I don't think there's any chance for Julia to win this. But if this is a ZVZ, then I would say it's like a 60-40 for kogeT, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just pulling these numbers out of me. Seriously, I don't know if it's a ZVZ. I don't know anything.
Well, let's see. Let's jump into this final series. This is for the final spot in the round of 8 of RCG 2021. What do we have so far? The player breakdown is how many Protoss?
4 Protoss players, 2 Terrans, and 1 Zerg.
All right, so we're gonna have 2 Zergs guaranteed if kogeT keeps playing Zerg in this tournament.
Yes. Okay, that's a relatively good race breakdown for the top 8. Yeah. All right. I think we're just about ready to jump into game number 1. This is going to be our last best of 3 of the day and the entire broadcast as well, the entire group stage. So we're going to wrap this up with our last series here. Julia versus kogeT for a spot in the top 8 of the tournament.
All right, we have in the bottom left Julia as the blue Zerg.
And his opponent in the top right, likewise picking Zerg. Yes, kogeT. All right, this is going to be tricky for kogeT, I think. Because again, we're working on the assumption that his Zerg in this matchup isn't as well practiced perhaps as Terran, because simply he hasn't had as much time to get ready for this tournament, because you know he used to main Zerg, but for the past, I don't know, 8-10 years he's been playing Terran through and through. So maybe Julia actually has a shot at
I mean, it would be a pretty big upset.
It definitely would be. Do you think this would be a bigger upset than Terran not making it to the round of 8?
About on par with that, because while I do think kogeT is a much better player than Julia, he is off racing, or I guess it's not off racing, but he is just recently returning to playing Zerg, and Ultra is quite strong in TVT and a much better player than Julia. It's gonna be 12 pool against 9 pool from Julia, so slight advantage here, I would say, for kogeT.
Yeah, so if you thought I had little to contribute in PvZ, just wait till I cast a ZVZ. This matchup is just like a knife fight, like a blindfolded knife fight between two guys. Yeah. So does either build favor any player?
I think it's kind of awkward on this map for the Zerg on the left side. You can't get any good mineral patches, no mineral boosting available. And okay, this is annoying, but you're committing a drone scout in a CVZ, you're hurting your economy that much further.
All right, we've got the first legs making it across the map for Julia, but kogeT should have a few of his own.
I mean, I'm gonna say something. This game is already over. I think kogeT already won. I think Julia just did. Why did Julia drone scout on a 2-player map, Blue Storm, where you're gonna get the Overlord there very quickly? And gotta pull drones to fight the early links, because even with the topo, you need to do that. And looks like he's managing to get around. He's gotta not lose any links until he gets speed though, and he's gotta be very careful here. kogeT has equal number of links, and he already got one. This is not looking good for Julia.
Yeah, he's got that one extra drone. kogeT does, and well, he's got the defender's advantage in a situation where they both just making links with speed. Julia is going to have his link speed quicker by about 20 seconds maybe. Now, can you afford to lose the natural as kogeT?
No. There's no threat really. He's just got to split links off. I mean, that natural is going down very quickly. 6 links hitting the natural. kogeT is slipping up here, and this natural is actually dead.
Well, did he also lose a drone in the main? Yes, he did, because he's down to 9 and he had 10. So, kogeT, hello, kogeT. You've got 2 more links in your main. So
right,
suddenly,
now Julia is suddenly in a good spot. I mean, kogeT really shouldn't have lost that natural. He had more than enough links. Julia gonna make a creep call in here, feeling that kogeT is forced into an awkward position where he has to attack. But kogeT, if he's gonna attack, yeah, he has to reroute and get a better angle. Of course, the natural hatchery from kogeT gave him additional larvae, so he's gonna have more links than Julia.
So there's still a chance, you're saying?
Yeah, still a chance, but you gotta engage properly. I can't really see. Looks like kogeT has a slight link advantage. The sunken isn't quite done yet. Looks like he's gonna win the link fight on the ground.
Well, does he go for the sunken or drones?
No, gotta go for the drones. Sunken's very slow at killing links, but they are very beefy, so you don't really have enough time. Looks like nice pull there by kogeT. But again, kogeT's in trouble. Julia's lair is already done, and he doesn't really have any advantage. He doesn't have the second hatch to produce extra links from, so...
Oh, he's going to be kicking himself if he loses this match for picking by picking Zerg. kogeT is, because again, I think if he were to pick Terran in this matchup, then he's got like a 90% chance of probably
second
making
creep.
it through.
Okay, no spire from Julia. This is very confusing. Julia's advantage is the tech, but if he just stays on one hatch without making that spire, it really doesn't make any sense. He's still mining on gas, and look how much gas he's built up. And I mean, Julia is kind of doing his best to throw away his advantage. Looks like he's gonna get the spire now.
Doing his best to throw away his advantage is the right way. Is the right way to put it. 2 Sunkens in the main base. That is super defensive here for our blue Zerg. The spy going up for Julia. Meanwhile, kogeT has rebuilt his hatchery. So what is the follow-up here for kogeT? Does it just keep making links and ride them across? Oh, this is a really good wraparound. Manages to get like 3 links. Cordon up there.
I mean,
kogeT does.
It's kind of funny because I mean, kogeT could drone up here and probably transition out of this. But if he keeps making links, then he could get in before the mutas are out, and Sunkens are not that great against links. So you need links to support your Sunkens, and he's gonna get caught. He's gonna get his links out of position, and if kogeT catches him before they get back to the Sunkens, this could be disastrous for Julia. I think kogeT can actually just win right here.
Oh, that's a really good attempt at blocking one of these Sunkens with the Eva Chamber, but this is just so many links getting on top of the Sunkens of Julia. Has kogeT done it after losing that hatchery, putting himself in a basically in an unwinnable position? manages to break through, and Julia is on the ropes. He is bleeding. 10 workers to 6, and more falling. He's done it. I think kogeT has done it. The Spire isn't done.
He's gotta kill the drones or the Spire, but Julia just leaves the game. I mean, I'm speechless. I don't know what happened in that game. It flipped back and forth. kogeT way ahead. Julia kills a hatchery. Julia way ahead. Then Julia makes 2 sunkens, no Spire, has his Lings get caught. He's way out of position, and kogeT just wins with a Link flood.
Yeah, that was a little bit too close for comfort for kogeT, I would say. So losing that hatchery was a bit, whew. That shouldn't have happened, right?
All right, so now kogeT is yet again 1 game away from the round of 8. He was in a similar scenario against Dandy, and it's Julia's pick for the map. What do you think we're gonna see here?
I mean, do you actually think that the map choice influences the way a ZVZ actually is?
Yeah, you can get a 2-player map, 4-player map. It really affects the opening builds. 12 hats much more common on a 4-player map. Maybe okay. Julia wants to get that.
Okay, I guess the number of spawns actually does play a vital role. I'll give you that. But I don't know. What is going to Julia go for? I think he's actually going to go for a 4-player map, because again, kogeT hasn't had as much time to prepare for this tournament as Zerg, which means any randomness, any that random factor that Julia can throw into this game is, I think, going to end up working in his favor. So I'm thinking Fighting Spirit, maybe Circuit Breakers. Julia feels like a Circuit Breaker player, so I'm gonna say Circuit Breakers.
All right, I'm gonna say, okay, you're correct then. And looks like we're ready to jump into that second game, and this could be the final game of the round of 16.
Yep.
And in the top right, we have Julia as the red Zerg, and we have the blue Zerg kogeT in the bottom right. And I mean, from what I've seen, while kogeT doesn't have the cleanest Zerg, he just seems better than Julia. Looks like we're having a little bit unorthodox play here with this Overlord Scout. I wonder what he's gonna do with that, because not going directly to another base.
All right. Well,
is this gonna be 10 hatch mass sling?
I've no idea. I wish I could contribute, but I do not have an answer to that philosophical question. Could be. I mean, I'll take anything really.
Yeah, it's 10 hatch. So this is a mass link build, and Julia, I think Julia is doing 9 hatch or 9 pool, and 9 pool against this build, it's a little bit dicey for the 9 pooler. But Julia is gonna scout right away. He's gonna see what he's up against.
Yeah, but kogeT, like, see, this is what I was talking about. He's got such a wrinkly brain. He remembers all these weird, unorthodox builds and then just pulls them out in tournaments. Anytime I need a build, I just go, hey, kogeT, give me some cool build. And he always comes up with something new, something I haven't come across before. And it's really cool to see that it also applies to his Zerg, not just his Terran. So,
right,
this is a build with speed. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, he's gonna go for timing. 10 hatch, you basically make links nonstop once your pool is done, and you can end up in a position where you just overrun the 9 pooler. But because Julia is actually going to see kogeT right away, this isn't going to be the easiest defense for kogeT either. The links should head straight to the space, and Julia's going to have a much faster speed than kogeT, and you can actually abuse that for a while.
Okay, so what is the right answer here for Julia? Does he just go? Why is he heading towards the left?
No idea. No idea what he's done. He's pulling up links.
Probably not the right way to go about this, right?
No, but I mean, is this 9 pool layer instead of 9 pool speed? Maybe.
Did he actually see the second hatchery?
So he didn't want to show his links, and he walked directly where the Overlord was. So a little bit unfortunate there for Julia. And you can see kogeT, he mined enough just for speed. He's gonna, I mean, I think he needs to make an Overlord at 16, and this is a very hard hold for a 9 pool.
Right.
Like if Julia loses any links before the big engagement, he's basically dead. 1 sunken won't be enough in that scenario. kogeT is gonna have so many more links, and all kogeT has to worry about is basically a small counter. doing too much economic damage, and looks like he's about ready to move out. He's gotta wait for speed though. That's the key timing there. Doesn't really need to commit too many Zerglings back at home. He actually forgot this Overlord. It's very important to get this Overlord right on 16 so that when it finishes, you can make a full round of Lings, and that's your trigger to go attack. Because now he's not going to be, like this attack could be hitting a few seconds faster. And we see Julia with the 2 Sunkens. This is going to be required, but I don't like his position. He can't really drill towards those Sunkens with his drone, so not really sure what he's going on there. And we see kogeT is here. He's gonna try to break up. He has a lot more Lings back at home.
We've got a counter from Julia, but that is going to be met by kogeT's Lings. He's trying to break up the ramp. Really good concave from Julia. That is what he's making as cost and efficient for kogeT as humanly possible. But now the blue Zerg is going to try and get on top of those 2 Sunkens. It's going to be a
Julia should stop mining gas with all these drones. He's going to need all the minerals. He can get 3 Sunkens. Now, this is basically what you have to do against 10 Edge if you're playing like Julia's. He did engage, bought himself some time. The Spire is only about 40%, 60% of the way done, and kogeT's gonna have a lot of Lings here. It's 2 hatches again, 4 Sunkens. Okay, yeah. This might be too many Sunkens. Let's see what kogeT does. Again, the Sunkens aren't that well positioned though, because you can't drill with drones, but looks like kogeT is actually gonna expand, which is the correct call here. You don't. And there we go. We're going in. He's got to kill the Lings first, and then the Sunkens. Lings do more damage than the Sunkens. They have higher DPS. Looks like at least one of the Sunkens gonna go down, probably 2. But
the 4th one finishes as well, and this is going to be pretty much the end of the aggression here. But the question is, what does kogeT do about the Mutilers that are about to pop?
No, he just gets sport. Nice counter, 2 drone kills, and this actually might be the nail in the coffin. And
yeah, he's down to 5 drones against the 9, against the 10 of his opponent. Sorry, is that 5 or is that 6? Oh yeah, that is 6. Never mind.
If kogeT had switched back into drones a little bit faster and not lost 2, then he would just get spores up. But I think he's in a position where his economy is too weak to do even that.
Yeah, the attack unfortunately turned out to be a damp squib. Didn't manage to break through the Sunkens. Good response from Julia, going for those full Sunkens just in case, even though he might have seen a bit of an overreaction. Now the Mutas are going to help clean this up, and this is going to be basically all she wrote. GG, kogeT taps out of game number 2, and once again we do have a series on our hands, and Julia has a chance of making it through to the top 8. As kogeT once again on the ropes. Yeah,
I mean, kogeT, once he saw the 4 Sunkens, I don't really know why he committed. Also, his build wasn't streamlined. His second Overlord was very late. And Julia, I question his Sunken positioning, but the number of Sunkens he made, he really respected the threat of the Ling all in.
Alright, so now we're going back to kogeT's map choice. And what do you think is going to be? Are we once again hoping for a 2-player map where that randomness kind of gets dampened here, it gets mitigated, so kogeT goes for something like Eclipse, or what do you think?
There's less variance on a 2-player map, and I think kogeT feels like he's the better player, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's Eclipse.
All right, we're both saying Eclipse. Let's find out if indeed this map is going to be the last one in the series, and the last one will be streaming for you today. All right, let's jump into it.
All right, and it is Fighting Spirit, and this doesn't surprise me either. I think kogeT, when he was playing Zerg, I think this was the map he played the most, so he has a little bit of comfort on this map, and we're gonna have both Zergs scouting each other right away, which is pretty good. I prefer this to having one Zerg having the scouting advantage, because then that plays a big factor in the game.
Yeah, kogeT, he always picks Fighting Spirit when he plays Terran, and he's got the choice. You know, he's very vanilla in that sense. Always goes for that Fighting Spirit.
All right, Julia has gone for 9-4 every game, and kogeT has been the one mixing things up. Julia is going for the unorthodox scout, scouting away from the the natural, and maybe he goes for 10 hatch this time around.
Julia?
Yeah, because he did do the gas trick. Looks like we have an overpull from... Okay, no, I didn't see the Overlord, so just a gas trick for whatever reason with an Overlord and overpull from kogeT.
So, who's in the lead then?
Okay, overpull against 12 pool. I mean, small minor advantage for Julia, I guess.
All right. So,
But
I think they've just confirmed their spawning locations. I think that the Overlords have... Oh, they met a while ago. Never mind.
Well, here's Overpool's gonna have one less drone than the 12 pool from Julia, but he's gonna have slightly faster tech. These differences can even out in the mid game based on how many lings each player decides to make and what they can get done with them. But kogeT's gonna have faster lings and faster lair, but he's not gonna have a second patch.
Right, so it seems like he skipped link speed. Is that a normal thing to do? Do you always rush lair in these situations, or what do you think the right response would have been, or the right course of action for kogeT would have been?
Okay, so kogeT's gonna go lair right away with overpull, and overpull it's not as common as Nightpool or over gas, where you get the fast gas, and then the pool. That's a definite build where you go lair right away. And I mean, kogeT is making those links, and actually Julia was actually gonna make a sunken because he skipped on making lings. And I mean, if kogeT, it's really hard for him to punish what Julia's doing. By the time he gets there, I think Julia will have enough lings, but kogeT's made non-stop lings. Looks like Julia's actually gonna get a second hatch. And I mean, this first engagement is gonna be key. If kogeT can't get anything done, then Julia has a big lead.
But we have to remember that these lings are not going to have speed at their disposal, so they're going to be slightly more difficult to micro. And well, this concave is going to be hard to break through.
Yeah, not looking good for kogeT right now. Julia holding the ramp. He's trading efficiently. I mean...
Yeah, absolutely no chance of breaking through. Okay, is that the speed? I think it might be, but there's just too many links for Julia. As kogeT gets into the main base.
Yeah, now he has to be worried about the counterattack, though, from Julia. I don't really think he should have committed there. Like, if he saw a sunken and you saw the amount of links you forced, I think he would have just been fine. Not throwing away those things. Maybe trying to sneaking them in later. But Julia's going to have this much faster second hatch, and it's going to be tough for kogeT to get anything done. Although he does have the slightly faster Spire, it's just barely faster. By the time he gets to Julia's base, Julia's will have the appropriate defense with his own.
Right, so we're going to go into Muta Scourge Walls, which is, I mean, again, kogeT really likes to play Wraiths, and two-fold Wraith is a build he chooses against Mutalisks. So I'm fairly confident that if they find themselves in a similar spot, Muta count-wise, then kogeT should actually come out ahead. But he cannot afford to lose any drones here. He's already 2 drones behind anyway.
Yeah, and Julia's going to be able to make, I think, 5 mutas right off the bat.
That is a lot of mutas. Might not seem like it, but in a ZVZ, that's actually a lot. Oh, he's going for a few Scourge as well.
Okay, if he's making Scourge, then I think kogeT has a shot here. Because if you have good muta micro, you can take advantage of it and kill Scourge without losing any mutas. If it's just mutas against mutas, it's harder to out micro mutas. And kogeT's gonna get that expansion up. Now, there's gonna be a very long time where kogeT's just on 1 hatch against the 2 from Julia, but they do have the same amount of gas. So it's not necessarily game over for kogeT. He's gonna have a worse economy, worse production, but the muta count will be roughly equal. And it's gonna still come down to control and decision making.
Well, I mean, he's got 4 drones less than his opponent. which means, I mean, Julia doesn't really need to pull the trigger here, right? He can just sit back and enjoy the fact that he's got a slightly better economy.
Yeah, and we see kogeT, that 4 drone deficit is pretty big, but again, it's gonna come down to mutas control, because if kogeT keeps making only mutas and Julia mixes in Scourge, if kogeT can kill the Scourge before they hit his mutas, kogeT can still win. He also has to be a little bit concerned on link counterattacks though, because Julia has that second hatchery where you can mix in links, and as you can see, looks like kogeT's gonna have one more mutalist here, but Julia has the Scourge, and here are the links moving out, and so, this is pretty difficult.
Yeah, the one thing that kogeT does have going for him is the fact that he's got a hatchery in the natural base, or in the natural. But,
yeah, but this also can work against him. If he has to defend the natural with mutalist, then all of a sudden the mutalist can hit his main and kill drones. But I mean, kogeT so far hasn't made any mistakes. He's still making what is it called? This is ridiculous from Julia. By the time that hatchery comes into play, the game is probably already going to be decided. So he's trying to get an overlord. kogeT can actually win this engagement. Gets a better shot off on the mutas. Already kills one from Julia. Has to be careful with the Scourge. What's his micro likes? Looks like he gets 1, 2 Scourge. Now Julia has to run away. He has 2 less mutas. Gets an overlord there, but he's got to split off his mutas. Otherwise, kogeT will eventually just pick them off.
I mean, see, this you can tell that this guy likes playing Wraiths.
Oh my god.
Oh, kogeT is getting such a beautiful engagement.
Now, normally I'd say kogeT should just head to Julia's base, and Julia is doing like the most annoying strategy you can do when you're behind in ZVZ, and you're just gonna rely on counters and get 1 spore back at your base. And that's one way for him, because right now Julia's in big trouble. He can only buy time with his units, that's with his mutalist and with his links countering, because he can't really engage kogeT head on. So that's why you see him making spores. He keeps losing mutalist, and normally I would say this is game over, but the threat of counter is always going to be there, and kogeT has to be careful here.
But he's got enough units to defend back at home. Snipes the Scourge.
Okay.
And Julia's dead. 41 to 26. kogeT now has the eco lead as well, with 2 more drones than his opponent. That hatchery in the top right hand corner is absolutely useless.
Yeah, I mean, here are the spores. This is what I said. Now, if kogeT has his game sense on, he will check them out for hidden expansions.
I mean, Julia had it. He had the ticket to Vladivostok in the bag.
Yeah, it's just 1 engagement, and you saw the Scourge that actually didn't land, and kogeT always had the mutant advantage. Now he just has to be careful about these random guerrilla attacks with mutalists coming in to harass.
I mean, he knows this exactly. He knows that this is the only way for Julia to actually come back into this game. I mean, yeah, the ninja expansion, sure, is going to go out unscouted probably for the remainder of this game, but I mean, kogeT has got such a good game sense that he's not going to let these links, these mutas to slip past the defenses. Now he does manage to find 2 drones in natural, but the eco is still relatively even here for both players. Now bear in mind the fact that kogeT does have
here we go.
access to
There's that scouting
line.
link. This is massive. There's that link. Okay, it's gonna check 12 and then probably top right, and then I mean the jig is up for Julia here.
But can you actually go for it with, well, not with the mutas, right? You just send a few links to the top right and hope to pick up the drones.
I mean, you're probably send maybe a handful of mutas and Scourge and a couple of links, but not all of the mutas. I mean, this is very scary. Okay, there you go. I was about to say. Looks like kogeT is actually going to retreat with the majority of his mutas. He realizes that he doesn't really need all of them, and he's prepared here for the obvious counterattack from Julia. And there we go. Looks like, oh, no mutas have been killed quite yet, and then we have the mutalist counterattack, and I think kogeT has cemented his position in the round of 8 for RCG 2021.
That is a very likely outcome here. 58 to 37. 1 base more than your opponent. Obviously, we're not counting the ninja expansion in the top right. It's not really doing much. And kogeT has such a lead here in this series. Now Julia is going to go for one last Hail Mary attack in the main base with the Mutalisk, focusing down as many drones as he can, but he now once again gets in range of the Mutalisk of his opponent, trying to send a few Mutas still after those drones, but it may be a little too late. 50 to 34, more and more Lings falling in the natural. He's doing his best, but
he's mixing it in. He's trying to kill drones so he has more time to come back in this game, but he's never gonna have the equal Muta count. And I mean, Julia is still alive. He still has 3 hatches versus just the 2. But again, the Mutalisk count.
Yeah, the hatchery in the top right is basically inconsequential. You can't really reinforce from it. And now it looks like kogeT is going to pull the trigger. Jumps on top of the score, but needs to watch out. That was a lot of Scourge connecting with the Mutalisks. Does he want to push through? Doesn't seem like it. Needs to move back. A few Lings running into the top right-hand corner. But still a massive supply lead for kogeT.
Yeah, kogeT just needs to be patient here. One way to throw this is engaging Mutalisk Scourge on top of the spores.
Yeah, I mean,
and Julia is being very annoying here with the Lings, so maybe a little bit premature. kogeT still has the lead, of course, and the spore, is this spore actually weak enough?
I think it might be. He did focus it with a few Lings earlier on. Yeah, that is a lot of Mutas that you don't have back at home if
okay, no, but kogeT has more than a control group of Mutals here.
Wow, he's not in position. Oh, that one's Scourge. Alright, Julia's going into deep. He's going into deep. He's going to get in range of those Mutas.
Yeah, this is way more Mutalisk for kogeT. And he doesn't have a ton of drones, but just keeping his Mutalisk alive, you can see there's not much Julia can do. He's spread very thin.
He's basically got he's got a 1 base lead in this game, because again, the top right isn't really contributing to Julia's economy, to Julia's Muta count, as much as the regular hatchery in the natural of kogeT. Well, we do have a bit of a counter attack coming in once again. That's a lot of Lings. What is Julia going to find here?
At this point, I think kogeT should just make a sunken, and that way he only has to worry about the Muta threat, because Julia can keep harassing, can keep being annoying like this for a very long time. kogeT just has to split his Mutas half and half, Muta at the nat, Muta in the main, and then try to get something done against that 3rd hatch at the top right. But again, he's in no rush because he's on 2 gas, and a 3rd hatch doesn't really make that much of a difference in ZVZ if you're both on the same number of gases.
Yeah, Julia has proven to be a very difficult player to kill. He really knows how to stay alive despite being quite far behind in every facet of the game. But yeah, well, I mean, the game is stabilizing slowly but surely. kogeT now has a 3 worker lead and an overall lead of about 11 supply. The top right has been stabilized. Do you think Julia actually still stands a chance of winning this?
No, but he is staying in the game, and that's just, he's leaving the option of kogeT messing up, because kogeT can definitely mess up. Like an attack with all his Mutas at either top left or top right would be a big mistake, but maybe kogeT gets a little bit desperate. He just doesn't want to deal with the counterattacks anymore. One thing we are seeing is kogeT has +1 carapace on his Mutas, and Julia does not. So even with he has a Mutas advantage, and now he has an upgrade advantage on this Mutalisk, so it's going to be even harder for Julia to pull this off.
Yeah, but kogeT doesn't strike me as somebody who loses patience very easily. He knows that if he wins this map, he is going to Vladivostok, a little trip, a little holiday, a little weekend breaks, I suppose. But are we finally going to have one big scuffle between the Mutas? Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, Julia at no point wants to engage directly against the Mutalisk of kogeT. He wants to rely on counterattacks and harassment.
All right. I mean, he's probably kicking himself for actually going for that expansion in the top right because it's really quite far away. And now he's basically left guessing where kogeT will strike next, and it actually takes a lot of time to get between those two hatcheries. Maybe going for the expansion in the natural would have been slightly more.
No, it wouldn't have
reasonable.
worked because kogeT would have been able to kill it before any static defenses got up. Once you won that big Mutalisk fight, looks like kogeT is actually gonna commit now, and this is always when I'm a little bit scared because this aren't all of his Mutalisks, and Julia's Mutalisks are all here.
All right.
Looks like he gets a drone, and he should probably retreat here.
I mean, Julia has a worker lead. 3 workers more than his opponent, and he's just down 11 in total. I mean, that means kogeT will have a lot more muses than his opponent, right?
Oh, catching another handful of Mutalisks here.
So, does he finally go for it? Does he finally go for that base in the top right, or maybe the one in the top left?
I think the kill is go for the main. This base, not super important. You gotta go for the main. There's only 2 spores now. He doesn't know where all the Mutalisks are. He only knows he caught a couple. And here we go. This is the big attack. And looks like kogeT is actually gonna retreat. I think he got a little bit scared seeing all the Mutalisks there.
Yeah, the 2 spores adding a lot of DPS to this army of Julia. kogeT definitely needs to be careful. He still has the Muta lead, but he's falling further and further behind in terms of work. It's 27 for Julia, 21 for kogeT. We have a slightly longer ZVZ than I expected.
And he's just gonna go for the main, which I think is the correct call because, I mean, Julia is on the other side of the map. He has to micro though because there are Scourge here, but he should be able to bust down 2 spores with, this looks like to be about 30 Mutalisk.
It's more mutas than he would ever have in any ZVC. Alright, we do have a Scourge collapsing onto the army of kogeT with the mutas from the top right trying to rush back into the main base of Julia to try and defend. That this might just be too much. kogeT, the red Zerg is overwhelming. He's got an overwhelming lead here with the Mutalisk. The whole main base is getting mown down by the mutas. And I think kogeT is going to ride a boss now.
Yeah, and gotta mention the upgrade difference. +1 carapace makes a massive difference in Muta versus Muta fights. And even with the spores, I think if all the Mutas were here, as long as kogeT didn't make a big mistake, he was going to win this game nonetheless. But nicely executed. And there we have our final participant in the round of 8. It's going to be kogeT as Zerg. He's going to head towards Russia later on in this summer.
Yep, congratulations to kogeT for winning that one. He's going to join our top 8 finishers to face it, to duke it out for the $10,000 prize pool in Russia. But still valiant effort, really well done by Julia. He got further than I thought he would. You know, even just getting to this tournament, this is really impressive. But 1 map away, and that was a really impressive run nonetheless.
Yep. Unfortunately, threw away a big lead, or I guess a small lead against kogeT in that final game. But kogeT just seemed to be the better player, not only in this series, but also against Gosudark, even with his Zerg.
Yep. So, as a quick recap of what's happened this weekend, Group A, we had Boa and Ultra advancing. Group B, DeWalt and Shiki. Group C, Bonith and Oya. And just now, Group D, Dandy and kogeT. So these are your top 8 cyber gladiators duking it out in the top 8 of the tournament in just about a month and a half. Hopefully you do have a graphic ready to give you a quick recap of what's happened. And yeah, I definitely enjoyed the group stage. I hope you likewise had a blast casting.
Yeah, it's always fun to come in and cast the top level foreigners in the highest events that we have in the foreign scene, and pretty surprising results in some of the groups, but other groups went as expected.
Yeah, I think Group A was the biggest upset with Terra not making it out at all. The reigning BSL champion, the person who has made it to a person who has made it to the top 8 and the top 4 of the RCG before, now getting knocked out in the round of 16, a little bit unexpected there. But that's just how she blows sometimes.
Yep.
All right. Do we have any graphics ready, Zero? All right. We're gonna take a look at the Liquipedia and the bracket there. So we get Group A: Boa on Ultra, DeWalt, Shiki, Bonith, Oya, and Dandy kogeT. We also have the players bracket seemingly ready. So we're gonna be kicking the quarterfinals off with Boa going up against Oya in a PvP, and then DeWalt taking on kogeT. Ooh, that's going to be a difficult one for our Polish gladiator. Then a TVT between Dandy and Ultra, and Bonith going up against Shiki in the last quarterfinal. Again, this tournament is going to continue in about a month and a half. I think the playoff stage begins on the 14th. Yes, indeed, the 14th of August. So we've got, what, 7 weeks before that happens. But yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you had a blast. I definitely did. Do you have any closing remarks, Alex?
Nope, just looking at the bracket, and it looks like it's going to be very, very tough for kogeT advancing any further with his Zerg. Even if you were playing against Terran, I think it would be an underdog against the wall.
Yep. Oh yeah, we are going to also mention the fact that, again, if we match the $10,000 prize purse of this tournament with another $10,000 worth of donations, not only is the prize pool going to get bigger, obviously, but we're also going to have another edition of the RCG next year, RCG 2022. So if you've got any spare change and you want to support this tournament, then definitely go ahead and check this page that Zero is showing us out. And yeah.
All right, I guess that'll be all for today's cast, and it's going to be a small gap in time between the next phase of this tournament, but that will be the round of 8, and that'll be, like Siggy said, in August 14th. And as you saw the bracket, it's going to be very, very stacked.
Indeed, very stacked. Ladies and gents, thanks a lot for tuning in. We're going to be wrapping things up here at the RCG. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time for the conclusion of this epic tournament. But until then, stay StarCraft. No, that was too cheesy. Take care.
All right, see you all. Bye.